Chapter 43. I am so tired. Lin Fan heaved a sigh of relief. He was really tired. Cultivation was tiring, controlling the bugs was even more so. He didn't sleep for a night, and he was using up his limited lifespan. The sky is already bright. He was too lazy to do such things. If not for the Liang family snatching the grain from the village, he wouldn't have done that. The Yuan family was lucky. The number of ants he controlled was limited, so he couldn't be distracted. If he could control enough, the 2 granaries would have been emptied in one night. To him, the villagers shouldn't have arrived yet. Suddenly, Go Zi woke up and saw the courtyard covered in rice. He was stunned. What happened last night? Why was there no movement at all? To transport so much grain over, it was impossible for there to be no movement at all. Lin Fan pushed open the door and walked out. Go Zi, don't make a fuss. Go inform Manager Chen and tell him to welcome the villagers at the city gate. I am a little tired and will sleep for a while. When they arrive, call me. All right, tell them to bring a sack. Go Zi looked on as young master returned into the room. He didn't understand how he did it. However, he still went to inform Manager Chen. Outside U City, large numbers of villagers wanted to enter the city, which made the U City guards wary. They thought that a riot was about to occur. Young Master Lin allowed us to enter. The Qin family village and Zhang family village villagers gathered outside the city. They were afraid of the weapons in the guards' hands and told them the reason. The guards were stunned. Young Master Lin? He then hollered in rage, You commoners are so arrogant. Why would the Lin family young master allow you to enter the city? Cram, otherwise blades have no eyes. It was okay if it was 1 or 2 commoners. However, there were just too many of them. If they were allowed into the city, they wouldn't be responsible for anything that happened. What are you all doing? What do you all want to do? Manager Chen hurried over. Go Zi informed him to welcome the villagers at the city gate. He really didn't understand what young master was doing. However, as a servant, he had to listen to what his master said. He just had to do what he needed to do. He couldn't think about anything else. Manager Chen. The guards recognized him. It was Lin family Manager Chen. Manager Chen acknowledged and looked at the villagers gathered outside. Young master told you to bring the sacks. Those who didn't, go back and get them. Young master was friendly to these villagers. But he wouldn't. He would still be strict when he needed to be. Soon, a large number of villagers left and hurried back to get their sack. The residents at the city gate stopped in their tracks and watched. What's going on today? Why are there so many people gathered at the city gate? I heard that young Master Lin wants to distribute rations to the villagers of Qin family village and Zhang family village. What? Young Master Lin is distributing rations to the villagers. Those who heard this couldn't believe it. In the crowd, there were people who were listening very seriously. When they learned the truth, they hid themselves in the crowd and disappeared. Not long after, the U City people all knew that young Master Lin wanted to distribute grain to the Qin family village and Zhang family village. This caused a huge uproar. Although the 3 aristocratic families of U City weren't good people in their hearts, at least the Lin family didn't bully people like the Yuan family and Liang family. However, the things that the Lin family's young master had done in recent days had opened the eyes of many of the residents, and they cried out in disbelief. Liang family. A servant hurriedly entered the mansion and directly bumped into the 3rd young master, who was about to leave. 3rd young master, something happened in the city. The Lin family young master wants to distribute grain to the villagers of Qin family village and Zhang family village. Most of them have already entered the city. The servant said. Liang Yongqi waved his paper fan. When he heard this, his brow rose up and he smiled. This fellow really squanders. Let's go and see how much grain his Lin family has. Their Liang family wouldn't do things that harmed themselves to benefit others. Even the lowly commoners knew this. Unfortunately, that bastard didn't know. His father told him to let the Lin family kid do whatever he wanted to see how much wealth the Lin family had to be able to handle all that. Lin Manor. The villagers lined up and stood there with sacks in their hands. They were filled with anticipation and nervousness. Young Master Lin wanted to distribute grain to them. However, they weren't sure if it was real or fake. If it was fake, then what would they do? But they believed that young Master Lin definitely wouldn't lie to them. Lin Wani squinted and asked, "What is going on outside? Why is it so noisy?" "Old Master, didn't young Master say that he would distribute grain to the villagers of the 2 villages? Now the villagers are all gathered outside the manor," Old Wu said. He didn't understand what young Master was doing. He felt that it wasn't good. "Nonsense," Lin Wani chided. "If you want to distribute grain, then you should go to the granary. Why did you bring people here?" Rage plus 88. Yesterday, he trained himself and wanted to teach this unfilial kid a lesson. However, the outcome was good. Forget it. He opened one eye and closed the other. He allowed him to do whatever he wanted. Who knew that this unfilial kid would actually gather the villagers of the 2 villages outside the manor? He was getting more and more daring. Let's go take a look." Lin Wani got up. He wanted to see what this unfilial kid wanted to do. The moment he walked out, he bumped into Zhou Zhongmao. "Uncle, where are you going?" Zhou Zhongmao asked. Lin Wani was furious and didn't say anything nice. "Where? I have to see your cousin who did such a good thing. As the manor teacher, why don't you care about what the villagers are doing here?" Zhou Zhongmao was stunned. "Uncle, didn't you approve of this?" "I approved of it?" Lin Wani wanted to slap Zhou Zhongmao to the ground. "Right, cousin's back courtyard is filled with grain. Uncle definitely ordered people to send it over last night. Now the villagers are waiting outside the manor. Isn't that what Uncle allowed?" Zhou Zhongmao said. Lin Wani and Old Wu exchanged glances with one another. Old Wu shook his head to express that he didn't know anything. He didn't say a word and walked towards the back courtyard. He wanted to see what this unfilial kid was doing. Outside the manor, Gozi raised his hand. "Be quiet. My young master said to line up and follow me in to get grain. Don't mess around, and if you see any strangers, inform me. There is nothing else, follow me in." The villagers were delighted and wanted to cheer out loud. Back courtyard. Lin Wani and Old Wu were stunned as they stood there. The courtyard was covered in grain, and one step would leave a deep footprint. "Old Master, did you transport grain for young Master last night?" Old Wu asked. "I am sick, transporting grain for this unfilial kid. Where did he get it from? No one from the granary came back to inform me." Lin Wani frowned. Old Wu said softly, "The guards at the granary definitely came back to inform me. That can only mean that the grain didn't come from the Lin Manor granary. But if it didn't, then where did young Master get it from?" Lin Wani walked into the room and pushed open the door. "Unfilial kid, where did the grain outside come from?" "Shush. Shush." Lin Fan was deep in sleep, and the only response he got was snoring. "Unfilial kid, wake up." Lin Wani slapped the table beside him and gave out a low voice. Lin Fan woke up like his soul had left his body. "Father, what are you doing?" He just felt sleepy and he didn't wake him up. That was just too much. "Where did the grain outside come from?" Lin Wani asked. Lin Fan was in a daze. It flew over. At that moment, outside the courtyard, Go Zi brought the villagers over. Wow, so much grain! When the villagers saw the scenes in front of them, they were all shocked. Go Zi instructed, 5 people to a group, store as much as you can. Don't spill it. Till now, he didn't know where the grain came from. Outside, many villagers were waiting. When they saw the first batch of villagers carry bulging bags out, the villagers who were waiting were all pumped up. Young Master Lin didn't lie to us. There really is a lot of grain inside, and it is really for us. The villagers who got the grain were all smiles. Not far away, Liang Yongqi looked at the villagers who were carrying bulging bags and was confused. Are they crazy? They really gave out grain? Liang family granary. The guard opened the door to see whether or not there were rats. If there were, then he would kill them on the spot. However, when he opened the door, the scenes inside made the guard blink. He backed out and looked around. It was really familiar. It was the granary. He then stepped into the granary. He rubbed his eyes. Illusion, it was definitely an illusion. He opened his eyes. He looked closely and there were no changes at all. Instantly, screams rang out. Not good, something huge happened. The guard scrambled out of the room. The grain in the granary was stolen. He had to inform Old Master. P.S. Thank you, book friend 16122211914222341, 40,000 tips from you. P.S. Thank you Tencent Book City for your tips, thank you. Chapter 44. Liang Yongqi looked on for a long time outside the Lin Manor. In his heart, he was thinking about what this fellow was doing. Only a person with problems in the head would give their own grain to others. He ordered the servants to pull a villager over to see whether or not it was grain in the bag. The villager's face turned white when he saw Liang Yongqi. He thought that the Liang family was going to steal their grain. Liang Yongqi was lazy to bother about them. He looked at the grain in the bag and was shocked. It really was. His brain must have gone haywire. Or was this fellow a total prodigal? Kiki, you really are stupid. Lin family, let's see how long you can last. Liang Yongqi gave a dark and sunken smile. He was really unhappy with Lin Fan. For some reason, rage rose up in his heart. Rage points plus 111. I was wondering why it felt like someone was angry. So, it was third young Master Liang. The injuries on his face healed, so he came out to suffer. Lin Fan waved his paper fan and walked out of the manor with his cousin. The villagers were moved to tears, but to Lin Fan, this was just a normal operation, not worth mentioning. When Liang Yongqi heard that voice, he panicked for some reason. It was too familiar. Even if he turned to dust, he wouldn't forget it. What do you want to do? Liang Yongqi couldn't help but retreat. However, when he saw the person beside him, he gained courage. He was already terrified by Lin Fan's beating. When he headed out, he wouldn't feel safe if he didn't bring someone with him. At that moment, a middle-aged man stood beside Liang Yongqi. He looked really normal, and if he was thrown into a crowd, he would just be a passerby. Cousin, this is the Liang Manor martial arts teacher. He is really strong. Zhou Zhongmao said softly. Lin Fan didn't care at all, leisurely waving his fan and smiling. Third young master, what are you afraid of? I won't beat you, so don't be too nervous. It is good to bring more people outside, but it will be uncomfortable. I don't care, I just bring my cousin, and whoever wants to beat me up can do so. Rage points plus 123. Liang Yongqi was furious at Lin Fan and had a really bad impression of him. Not beating him up? The last few times he was beaten up by a dog. As the third young master of the Liang family, and the head instructor of the Liang family was by his side, how could he possibly be afraid? He forcefully pretended to be calm. You are free, I am free too. Young Master Lin, you are really generous. You took out the Lin family grain and old Master Lin didn't say anything. Liang Yongqi said with a weird tone. Lin Fan smiled. What did you say? What else can I say? As the young master of the Lin family, I am the only successor, which means that I am the family head. I can do whatever I want, unlike a certain someone who doesn't dare to resist and can only listen to orders like a puppet. Liang Yongqi was so angry that his face turned red. These words were obviously directed at him. Rage points plus 66. Lin Fan looked down on it as the rage points were too little. However, forget it, no matter how small it was still meat. Cousin, let's go and look around. I feel like today isn't peaceful. Lin Fan sighed. Zhou Zhongmao raised his head and said with some confusion, "It's all right." Lin Fan smiled and didn't say much. He ignored Liang Yongqi and walked into the distance. "Despicable fellow, just you wait. One day you will regret this." Liang Yongqi looked at Lin Fan in rage. Bastard, animal, that dog, he only knew how to bully people. Now, he just tossed those words here. As long as he became the Liang family head, he would declare war on the Lin family and fight to the death. Who knew what his father was afraid of? Wasn't it just one Lin Wani? If the Yuan and Liang families worked together, they would definitely be able to wipe him out. On the streets. "Cousin, aren't we going back to the manor to take a look?" Zhou Zhongmao asked. He didn't know where cousin got so much grain from. If it was shipped last night, he would definitely know. There was no movement at all. What is there to look at? Isn't it just distributing grain? So boring. Lin Fan waved his hands. These were just extra actions. His final goal was to go against the Liang family. If he faced someone who wasn't happy, he would deal with them. Did you hear? The grain in the Liang family granary was all gone in a night. Is that true? Who is so bold? I don't know. Let's go take a look. Two normal civilians passed by and hurriedly ran into the distance. It seemed like the Liang family granary being robbed attracted many people's attention. Cousin, how is that possible? A granary is an important place for any family and there are many guards guarding it. How is it possible to steal it in a night? Zhou Zhongmao didn't believe it. Let's just go take a look. Lin Fan was delighted. Who knew how angry the Liang family would be, and how many rage points would he get? However, looking at the situation, he didn't get any rage points. That could only mean that they didn't know that he was the one who did it, which was why the rage points didn't come from him. Granary. Old Master Liang's face was dark and sunken. He looked at the entire granary which only had empty cloth bags. A ball of rage was burning in his heart. A male sniffed the scent in the air. At the same time, he observed the traces around. His eyes were like an eagle's, locking onto a target and able to see things that others couldn't. Zhu Xiang, the Liang family's investigative expert. He wasn't from the Liang family and came from the outer city. He was able to dig out the truth from any small clues. However, at this moment, he frowned. After a long while, he got up and said regretfully, "Old Master, I haven't found anything yet." Old Master Liang's face was cold. The granary was heavily guarded, so how could all the grain be stolen without any movement at all? Zhu Xiang lowered his head and was in deep thought. Suddenly, from the corner of his eye, he saw a sliver of viscous liquid. He knelt down and picked up the mud that had the sticky liquid on it. He took a close look at it. What happened? Old Master Liang asked. Now, he just wanted to find the culprit who stole the grain and tear him to pieces. Zhu Xiang frowned. He stretched out his tongue and licked the sticky liquid on the mud. He tasted it and then placed it into his mouth. He closed his eyes. Old Master, this is the liquid of the Earth Dragon, Zhu Xiang said. Earth Dragon. Old Master Liang frowned. Now that the grain was stolen, what did it have to do with the Earth Dragon? Don't move, don't touch anything. Zhu Xiang told everyone to stand on the spot. He then walked to the cloth bag that was bitten and grabbed it to take a close look. After looking for a long while, Zhu Xiang opened his mouth. Old Master, I think I know who did it. Who? Old Master Liang asked anxiously. Insect Valley, Zhu Xiang said. Old Master Liang frowned. He was a little unfamiliar with Insect Valley. Zhu Xiang said, Old Master, Insect Valley belongs to a faction, but some things happened and they closed the valley. Their ability is special and they can control bugs. That liquid was from the Earth Dragon and the bite marks on the bag seem like they were bitten by bugs. Based on my guesses, someone controlled the Earth Dragon to dig a tunnel and then used bugs to transport the grain and steal it. However, this is just my guess. In reality, this is impossible. Controlling bugs requires strong internal strength, and there aren't many people in U-City who can use internal strength to do that. Moreover, Insect Valley's secret techniques aren't spread out, so outsiders won't know about it. As for what happened, we still don't know. If Lin Fan found out, he would curse. Damn, how did you know so clearly? Did you see it there? Seal the city, and investigate. Old Master Liang hollered in rage. In his opinion, what Zhu Xiang said was a complete fantasy. Zhu Xiang didn't say much. There were many questions, but he believed that Insect Valley did it. However, it was impossible as no one in U-City had such an ability. Chapter 45. Outside the granary. Lin Fan waved his paper fan and shook his head regretfully. It's too horrible to look at. Who did this, to actually wipe out someone's granary? It's too scary. When he said that, his expression was one of fear. Rage points plus 66. Where did the rage points come from? Just looking at it, it was old Master Liang who brought people out of the granary. He even heard what he said. The target was right in front of him, and if he didn't stimulate it, he wouldn't feel good. The commoners all gathered around. The Liang family granary being robbed was a huge matter. They treated it like they were watching a show. At the same time, they were shocked. Who was so bold to actually dare to rob the Liang family granary? Did he want to die? However, to the commoners, such a thing was something they loved to see. Originally, the news of the Liang family granary being robbed wouldn't be spread out. However, if they had to blame someone, they would have to blame the guard who shouted crazily, causing the entire city to know that the granary had been robbed. Old Master Liang, I heard that your granary was robbed. Who did it? The losses are huge. Lin Fan smiled and said. He didn't hide his gloating expression at all. Rage points plus 111. Old Master Liang's face was serious as he stared at Lin Fan in rage. The granary being robbed already made him furious. Now that this kid appeared here and said those words, what was the meaning of it? Was he purposely here to piss him off? Haze, as the saying goes, the heavens have eyes. Is it so easy to steal someone else's stored grain? Look at this, retribution is here. Lin Fan said. Rage points plus 233. Have you said enough? Old Master Liang raged. If he wasn't the Lin family young master, he would have attacked. Lin Fan shook his head. I definitely haven't said enough. Let's all take a look and brainstorm. Who knows, we might be able to find some clues right. Don't worry, I sympathize with the Liang family. I definitely didn't come here to gloat. Even he didn't believe what he said. Zhou Zhongmao didn't doubt his cousin's words at all. As for the others, they all knew what was going on. Young Master Lin was lying with his eyes open, so he was just bluffing others. Father. At this moment, Liang Yongqi hurried over with an ugly expression. When he found out that his granary had been robbed, his soul almost left his body. Father, I heard that our granary was robbed. Is that true? Liang Yongqi asked. It would all be his in the future. Now that it was gone, it was like breaking one of his legs with a stick. Old Master Liang's face was cold as he acknowledged. Liang Yongji's pupils constricted in disbelief. Then, he ran towards the granary. Not long after, he came out dejectedly. Suddenly, Liang Yongqi looked at Lin Fan, who was standing there gloating. It was as if he thought of something. He rushed up in rage and wanted to grab Lin Fan's collar, but Zhou Zhongmao stopped him. It's you, it's definitely you. This roar attracted everyone's attention. The Liang family's third young master pointed at Lin Fan and said that he did it. Many people were dumbfounded. Lin Fan waved his fan and was really calm. Liang Yongqi, you can eat sh*t randomly, but you can't say whatever you want. If you want to eat sh*t, I won't stop you. I can even give you some warm sh*t, but if you slander me, I will fight you to the death. You! Liang Yongqi's eyes turned red from rage. He turned his head and said, Father, this morning he was distributing grain to Qin family village and Zhang family village. Now that our granary has been robbed, how can there be such a coincidence? Rage points plus 123. Old Master Liang looked at Lin Fan with a dark and sunken gaze. It was obvious that he felt that this matter was a little problematic. Kiki, interesting. What does my Lin family distributing grain have to do with you? I can do whatever I want because I am rich, so what? Lin Fan wasn't afraid at all. If he didn't have a strong backer, he would really be a little afraid. But now. Come, let's fight and see who can eat first. That Yuan family old man retracted his head after being stared at by his father. Liang Yongqi was far from that. Then Lin Fan shouted, "Guys, stop looking, stop looking. The Liang family has gone crazy, like a mad dog, framing people they catch. Today, I have some wealth and don't fear the Liang family. If they blame it on all of you, you won't have a good ending." The commoners took a step back and looked at the Liang family in terror. Young Master Lin's words made sense. If they really framed them with their ability, they wouldn't be able to handle it. Rage points plus 333. Shut up. Old Master Liang stared at Lin Fan in rage. Young Master Lin, your words are too much. Our Liang family granary was robbed, and today you are distributing grain. What proof do you have to prove your innocence? Lin Fan looked at old Master Liang like he was looking at a retard. Innocence? Why do I have to prove it? If you want to, then find my father. He will be happy to. He directly pushed the blame to his father. Oh right, my Lin family distributed grain to those villagers, so don't think about snatching it. Otherwise, you will be enemies with the Lin family. You all know the consequences, Lin Fan said. His words were a little heavy. The three aristocratic families of Yu City occasionally had small conflicts over the years, but they didn't really start a war. Even Lin Fan didn't know how the war would start. Forget it. He had to say some vicious words first. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to stand. Old Master Liang clenched his fists. A ball of rage was in his chest as he stared at Lin Fan in rage. Lin Fan wasn't afraid at all. Old Master Liang, don't look at me like that. What is the use of looking at me? The grain won't come back by itself. However, I think that we have to investigate the thief, Lin Fan said. Rage points plus 444. Rage points plus 666. The rage points jumped up. The rage in old Master Liang's heart seemed to be getting stronger and stronger. Zhu Xiang was in deep thought. With his past experience, often when something happened, the murderer would be there. Young Master Lin was a huge suspect. However, he couldn't say nonsense. Lin Manor's strength couldn't be underestimated, especially Lin Wani. Although he hadn't fought him before, he had seen him in person. The feeling he gave off was like an ocean that couldn't be measured. Moreover, young Master Lin's strength wasn't enough to do such a thing. Or was he thinking too much? Actually, if Lin Fan knew what Zhu Xiang was thinking, he would definitely give him a thumbs up. You are really amazing. To be able to guess that, he was just too timid. If he was more daring, then wouldn't it work? Cousin, the weather is good today, and I am in a good mood. Let's go to Drunk Fragrance Pavilion to drink some wine. Old Master Liang, if the old doesn't go, the new won't come. I see that your Liang family has suffered heavy losses, so why don't I treat you all to a stall nearby to eat some tofu to moisten your lungs? Lin Fan said. Damn. Liang Yongqi clenched his fists. Surnamed Lin, don't be too arrogant. Rage points plus 133. This fellow was really trash. He gave too little rage points. Couldn't he be more angry, like a volcano erupting? Old Master Liang calmed himself down. There is no need, young Master Lin should go eat by yourself. He furiously waved his hands and didn't even look at Lin Fan. Cousin, let's go. Lin Fan smiled and looked at Liang Yongqi. His gaze was a little provocative. If you aren't happy, then come and beat me up. In the end, let's see who beats who up. How would the commoners not know about the conflict between young Master Lin and the Liang family? Their conversation was filled with the smell of gunpowder. Lin Manor. Lin Wani frowned. The granary wasn't missing a single grain, but the back courtyard was filled with grain. At the same time, the Liang family granary was robbed. Even a fool would be able to tell who did it. No, even a fool wouldn't know that the Lin family granary had a lot of grain. How did this unfilial kid do it? No. Brother Wu, head to the granary now and arrange for 2 guards to take turns to guard it. The unfilial kid could empty out the Liang family granary without making a sound. Then, one day he might be stupid enough to do the same to his own granary. He had to be wary of him. P.S. Please vote for me. The public update is a little useless, but there is no choice. It will be better once it is released. You all know that. Hee hee. Chapter 46. Yuan Family. Father, the Liang family granary was robbed, and nothing was left. This is just too vicious. Yuan Tianchu hurried into the hall and saw his father drinking tea. He told him what happened today. Old Master Yuan's expression changed slightly. A granary being robbed was a huge matter. The Liang family would definitely explode. Did you find out who did it? Old Master Yuan asked. Yuan Tianchu shook his head. I don't know. However, there is one more thing. That trash from the Lin family gave out grain to the villagers of the 2 villages. Father, do you think he has problems in his head to do such a thing? Even if he wants to be a good person, he can't do that. He is a huge suspect. Old Master Yuan thought about it and said, the Liang family granary was robbed and he gave out grain. Didn't the Liang family suspect anything? They did. Liang Yongqi acted like he had gone mad and insisted that Lin Fan did it. However, he didn't have any evidence. Yuan Tianchu said. Although it wasn't their granary that was robbed, for some reason, he panicked a little. To be able to empty the granary without attracting anyone's attention despite being heavily guarded, it showed that the other party's capability was incredible. Go increase the guards. Old Master Yuan instructed. What a joke, if they targeted his Yuan family, wouldn't it be worse? Be prepared for danger in times of peace. Not happening didn't mean that it wouldn't happen. If it really happened and they didn't do anything, wouldn't it be worse? Drunk Fragrance Pavilion. Lin Fan was really relaxed. After this period of probing, he noticed that as long as he was in U City, he could do whatever he wanted. Liang family and Yuan family were aristocratic families in U City, especially the 2 family heads whom he had offended before. If his father felt that he couldn't offend them, he would definitely scold him and apologize to the 2 families. However, his father didn't care about it at all. He didn't even give them an explanation. To be more direct, his father didn't care about the 2 families. This was why he wasn't afraid. At most, he would just hide in U City. If he wanted to head out, he could rely on the small support system to raise his strength. Lin Manor. When he returned, there were many villagers queuing up to get grain. The villagers were grateful to young Master Lin. They didn't do anything and knelt down to thank him. They knew how to be grateful. They knew how to remember this kindness. Lin Fan was about to return to the backyard to sleep when his father walked over. Did you steal the Liang family's granary? No, father. Do I look like a thief to you? Lin Fan denied it. If he didn't do it, then he didn't do it. It was the Zergs who did it, not him. He wouldn't take the blame for them. However, he realized that there was something wrong with his father's gaze. It seemed to be saying, do you think your father is a fool? Father, you don't believe me. Lin Fan was heartbroken. Father and son are connected. Father, as a father and son, mutual trust is the most important thing. You've hurt my heart by doubting me like this. He did not speak. His father still did not say anything. He squinted his eyes and glared at Lin Fan. Facing this gaze, he wasn't the slightest bit afraid. He had to stay calm. His biggest dream was to be a rich young master who enjoyed life. He didn't want to expose too much of his talent. Dad, I didn't sleep last night. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to sleep first. Lin Fan didn't look at his father and walked towards the backyard. As he walked, he felt that something was wrong. This young master seemed to have exposed something just now. He shook his head. Impossible, there was nothing wrong with what he said. Lin Wani didn't stop Lin Fan from leaving. He looked at the back view of the unfilial kid and shook his head. Old master, it seems like young master did it. Old Wu walked over from the distance. Scoff, he still wants to hide it from me. This unfilial kid is getting bolder and bolder. Is he going to break the sky of U City? Lin Wani said. Old Wu didn't panic. Even if young master broke the sky of U City, nothing would happen. He returned to the courtyard. Lin Fan really fell asleep. He played with bugs for an entire night and he was really tired. He just wanted to have a good sleep. Liang family. Father, I can guarantee that our granary was robbed by that bastard. Liang Yongqi was flustered and exasperated. He was bullied to the point of no return. Do you have evidence? Old Master Liang asked. His expression was really ugly, but he wasn't so rash as to directly question the Lin family. The three aristocratic families of U City seemed peaceful on the surface, but they kept one another in check. Actually, deep in his heart, he still feared the Lin family. No. Liang Yongqi lowered his head and clenched his fists. Even if he didn't have evidence, he still felt that Lin Fan was the thief who stole the grain. Then, he thought about something. Father, why don't we send people to the village to snatch the grain? Anyway, it belongs to us, so we should take it back. Old Master Liang raised his head and looked at his son with a weird expression. Are you sick in the head? He didn't expect that the third son he had high hopes for would have such a dumb idea. Father, Liang Yongqi wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. Kachi. Liang Yichu pushed open the door and walked in. Zhu Xiang followed beside him. Zhu Xiang wasn't from the Liang family, but more like a worshipper of the Liang family. The Liang family provided for him, and he helped them do some things. The granary matter was a challenge to him. From the details that normal people couldn't touch, he had to find the truth. Logically speaking, the Lin family young master was the most suspicious. Even the Lin family's young master could do it. But everything was afraid of that word. Father, Zhu Xiang and I have investigated the granary for a long time and confirmed something. Liang Yichu said. Liang Yongqi frowned. Big brother, why are you here? This has nothing to do with you. How can you speak to your big brother like that? Chu, continue. Old Master Liang scolded. Liang Yongqi was hurt. Father, you actually scolded me for big brother. At the same time, he felt uneasy and in danger. Was big brother trying to fight for favor with him? Mr. Zhu Xiang, please speak. Liang Yichu said politely. Zhu Xiang thought about it for a moment and cupped his fists. Old Master, after my investigation, I can confirm that the granary was stolen by Insect Valley. A few days ago, I met someone in the city. At the start, I wasn't sure, but after thinking about it, I realized that he was familiar. In the end, I confirmed that he was Insect Valley's traitor, Feng Poli. Old Master Liang didn't know who Feng Poli was, but knowing who he was, he cleared his doubts. Old Master, this person is a true disciple of Insect Valley. He killed his master and can control bugs. This granary was stolen by him. I think this matter can only end here. We can't offend him. Zhu Xiang said. Liang Yongqi was still sad. When he heard that, he wanted to show off. Father, I am willing to bring people to capture Feng Poliu. Zhu Xiang raised his head and looked at third young master helplessly. Damn. He didn't even know where he came from and went to capture him. He would probably lose his life in his hand. Third young master, it is best if we don't offend this person, otherwise we will bring destruction to the Liang family. Zhu Xiang advised. He learned all this in the imperial city. In terms of knowledge, he was much more knowledgeable than the Liang and Yuan family. He knew many things that others didn't. Old Master Liang was shocked. This person is so amazing? Zhu Xiang replied, very. Chapter 47. That night, Liang Yongji didn't sleep well. It was like there was a thorn in his heart. Danger was approaching. He realized that his big brother had changed a little. It seemed like he knew how to fight for favor with him. He wanted to snatch the position of patriarch from him. He tossed and turned, finding it hard to fall asleep. Then, he sat on the bed and frowned, deep in thought. Big brother, if you really want to fight with me, then don't blame me for being impolite. Liang Yongqi made up his mind to fight to the death with his big brother. The Liang family head position could only be his. For some unknown reason, he was a little envious of Lin Fan. Because Lin Fan was the only successor of the Lin family. It was really enviable to not have siblings fighting for power. Unknowingly. Rage points plus 66. Lin Fan was sleeping on the bed, his anger coming from the heavens. Early morning. A ray of sunlight shone in. The assassin didn't come. This sleep was much more comfortable. His waist wasn't sore, his legs weren't painful, and his whole body was full of energy. Guzi, who had been waiting outside for a long time, heard the commotion in the room and immediately came in with his toiletries. Lin Fan was used to such luxurious days. There was someone to serve him when he ate, dressed, and washed up. Young master, you look much better than yesterday. Guzi combed Lin Fan's hair and smiled. That's for sure. I wasn't in a good state yesterday. After sleeping for so long, I'm almost numb. Let's hurry up and have some fun today. Lin Fan felt as though he was wasting his time away. But there was no other way. He had everything, so what was there to fight for? Others struggled because they lacked too much. They didn't have money or power, but he didn't have to struggle. He had money and power. His life was so corrupt. He had nothing to do every day, eating and waiting for death. Therefore, he had to find something to do to add some green spice to his already wonderful life. Was he going to let the Liang family off just like that? That's impossible. I haven't mocked him enough yet. There was also the Yuan family. When they were choosing, they had chosen the Liang family first. They were lucky to have let the Yuan family go. The Yuan family's granary still had to be moved. But not now. If he were to make a move, he would definitely be discovered by the Yuan clan. Wait. At this moment, Lin Fan thought of something. Even if he was discovered, so what? Yours truly wasn't even present at the scene. More often than not, a surprise was more wonderful than a scare. We have to do it tonight. Young master, it's done. Guzi finished packing up and stood at the side. Lin Fan came back to his senses. In just a short while, he had already thought through the evening's activities. Let's go out for a walk and call my cousin. Even if he was wandering around the city, he had to bring his cousin along just in case. If he met someone who didn't care about his life or was driven crazy by him, then the chances of him encountering danger would be quite high. Yes, young master. On the street. As the three of them walked on the streets, all sorts of fragrances wafted over. Fried food, tofu pudding, all sorts of delicacies tempted their taste bud. He came to the stall and asked for fried dough stick. The stall owner recognized Lin Fan immediately. He was so excited that he refused to take his money. To Lin Fan, was he the kind of person who would eat youtiao without paying? He told Guzi to pay, and he continued to fool around. The stall was so polite to him. It made him understand that he was already a famous person. Not bad at all. At this moment, many armed guards patrolled the streets in an orderly manner, as if they were looking for something. Young master, these are the Liang family guards. It seems like they are going to search for the person who stole the grain. Guzi said softly. Actually, in his heart, He felt that the Liang family granary being robbed had something to do with young master. Although he wasn't sure. But at least he had some confidence. Lin Fan smiled. To think that they wanted to find the person who stole the grain, they were all blind. He was standing right in front of them, and they didn't even know how to capture him. However, even if they turned Yu City upside down, it would be useless. The Liang family caused a huge commotion. Yu City entered a state of alert. The commoners didn't dare to touch them. Who knew whether or not they would purposely capture them to be scapegoat. So, the moment they saw them, they hid far away. All the way until noon. Drunk Fragrance Pavilion. When Lin Fan entered, he saw Liang Yongqi drinking alone. His face was a little red. Third young master Liang is in a good mood. Your granary was robbed, and you still have the mood to drink. Not bad, you should walk out from the shadows and welcome a beautiful life. Lin Fan smiled. Shopkeeper, give me some good wine and dishes. The shopkeeper was terrified. He was afraid that these two young masters would fight and destroy Drunk Fragrance Pavilion. If that happened, he would have nowhere to cry. When Liang Yongqi heard that, he raised his head. His eyes looked like they were about to swallow Lin Fan up. Lin Fan, you did all of this, right? He didn't drink much, but he was a little drunk. When he saw Lin Fan, that drunkenness rose to 70%. He was really annoyed now. He thought that Big Brother had totally fallen out of favor, but his father's attitude towards him changed. This made him feel a huge sense of danger. There was no one else in the pavilion, just Liang Yongqi and the few of them. I did it. Lin Fan smiled and said. Liang Yongqi was stunned. Even if he was a little drunk, he didn't expect that he would admit it so quickly. He then hollered, You admitted it yourself. I admitted it. So what? Lin Fan said. There was no one there. He just said it. The key was that Liang Yongqi always thought that he said it, so he had to give him some confidence. If he agreed, he wouldn't lose anything. Instead, he would let Liang Yongqi have a good time. He was happy to help others, so why not? This was a good tradition that needed to be carried forward. As expected, Liang Yongqi was excited. He stood up. His movements were too big, causing the dishes on the table to fall. You dare to admit that you stole my Liang family's granary? I was the one who stole it. Even if your father came, I would admit that I was the one who stole it. Lin Fan picked up the wine cup and calmly drank it. He then said, Do you have an urge to grab me now? Liang Yongqi's eyes turned red. Great, I didn't expect you to admit it yourself. Go, follow me. I want to see what your Lin family has to say. When he said that, he grabbed Lin Fan's arm. Lin Fan calmly turned his head. Cousin is being beaten up. Why are you still standing there? Zhou Zhongmao listened to cousin's words. He had to listen to everything. So he listened carefully. Now, he was sure that cousin wanted him to beat him up and not for him to leave. Pung! Zhou Zhongmao kicked out. He used a lot of strength, and Liang Yongqi fell to the ground, smashing the table. The manager was doing the accounts downstairs. When he heard the commotion in the building, he was so shocked that his soul almost flew away. Go to the Lin and Liang families and inform them that the two young masters are fighting. What are you standing there for? Go. In the building. Lin Fan shook his head and sighed. He had bullied him so many times, but for some reason, he wasn't sick of it. Maybe it was because the novelty hadn't passed. Liang Yongqi's martial path strength was still okay, just grade 3. Even with his current strength, he could still crush them. However, as a rich family young master, how could he do it himself? It was too vulgar, too vulgar. Zhou Zhongmao pressed Liang Yongqi to the ground and hammered him, causing his heart to jump. Cousin, hit his face. Don't hurt his organs and cause him to die. Lin Fan said. Liang Yongqi resisted. Lin Fan, I can't live under the same sky as you. Not long later. Drunk Fragrance Pavilion. Lin Wani and Old Master Liang both appeared. The two of them exchanged glances and nodded at one another. In the building, it was totally silent. When the two of them went up, Lin Wanyi saw his unfilial kid drinking leisurely. On the contrary, Liang Yongqi was lying on the ground with a swollen face, crying out in pain. Third son. Old Master Liang's face was terrifyingly dark and sunken. He turned his head and said, "Young Master Lin, you were a little too vicious." Liang Yongqi grabbed his father's hand. "Father, he just admitted that he was the one who robbed the granary." Lin Fan was shocked. The wine cup in his hand fell to the ground. With a smashing sound it shattered. "Third young Master Liang, I won't stop you if you want to eat sh*t, but you can't say such nonsense. You are trying to frame me." "Dad, it's like this. I walked all the way until noon, and I got hungry, so I came here for a meal. I saw young Master Liang drinking, and he was drunk. When he saw me, he came up to me and said that I was the one who stole his food. He even called me a beast." Lin Wanyi's head was about to explode. What kind of nonsense was this? He didn't have any other ability, but he was good at fanning the flames. Liang Yongqi was so furious that he wanted to spit out blood. He hollered in rage, "Lin Fan, you animal! Father, you heard that? He called me an animal. If I am an animal, then what are you? This fellow dared to be so arrogant in front of you, so who knows how he would scold you behind your back," Lin Fan said. Old Master Liang's face was dark and sunken. He cupped his fists and said, "Brother Lin, this is a misunderstanding. It is just a conflict between two kids, there is no need to make it so big." "Wait," Lin Fan said, "Old Master Liang, I am already an adult and not a kid. If you say that he is a kid, then I can only forget about it. After all, I have read many books and would never bully the weak. I won't lower myself to the level of a kid. But if he isn't a kid, then you have to give me an explanation." Old Master Liang's rage towards Lin Fan was huge. He looked at his third son and was a little disappointed. He didn't expect that the third son he had high hopes for couldn't beat this trash from the Lin family. How dumb was he? "Okay, this matter ends here," Lin Wanyi said. "Read books? What did he even read?" Lin Fan was helpless. "Since father said so, then let's forget it. Let's not be petty. Forget it, forget it. However, young Master Liang smashed their restaurant, so we still have to pay up." Old Master Liang cupped his fists towards Lin Wanyi and said, "Carry young master and leave. Compensate the restaurant." He didn't want to stay for a moment longer. If he stayed for too long, his mental state wouldn't be good. This Lin family kid was too much of a bully. Everyone was gone. "Do you feel good?" Lin Wanyi said. Lin Fan said helplessly, "Father, I am the victim, so how can I feel good?" Lin Wanyi scoffed coldly, "Zhongmao, uncle has something for you to do. In the future, don't mess around with your cousin." "Yes, uncle. P.S. Thank you for the tips from 10-cent Book City, thank you." Chapter 48. Lin Fan panicked. Cousin was going to leave him. Oh my god. If that happened, then he wouldn't have a fighter. Even in Yu City, he would feel uneasy. If he faced people from the Yuan and Liang families, he would have to personally fight them. How embarrassing. On the streets. "Cousin, what does my father want you to do?" Lin Fan asked. It was best if he didn't go. It was so good to be with cousin, to play, to mess around, and he didn't need to be a scapegoat. Eating, drinking, and taking a dump every day happily, wasn't that perfect? "I don't know. Cousin, during this period of time I am not here, you have to be careful." Zhou Zhongmao couldn't bear to leave his cousin. During this period of time they had so much fun together. However, he had to listen to his uncle's orders. His father was going to remove the strongest martial force by his side. Was it so that he couldn't have any fun? "Cousin, don't worry. I will complete this matter quickly and come back," Zhou Zhongmao said. He then looked towards Go Zi. "Go Zi, during this period of time I am not here, you have to take care of my cousin. If he faces danger, you have to help him unconditionally. Yes. Gozi replied. This was something he should do. There was no need for others to tell him. If young master faced danger, he would help him without hesitation. Lin Fan's interest decreased. Let's go home, let's go home. Liang Manor. Father, that fellow did it. He admitted it in front of me. Liang Yongqi was really pitiful. His face was beaten up so badly that it was unrecognizable. Pain, it was really painful. That fiery pain was something that one couldn't imagine if they didn't personally feel it. He didn't expect that someone could be so lawless. He didn't care about his status at all. No matter what, he was the Liang family third young master, and was on the same level as Lin Fan. How could he just beat him up without hesitation? Was he not giving him any face at all? Do you have evidence? Old Master Liang asked. Liang Yongqi was anxious. Father, what proof do you need? He admitted it in front of me. He did it. Dumb. Old Master Liang didn't realize that his third son was actually so dumb. He admitted it. Did anyone hear that? Or is it because you are so capable that people will believe your words? Liang Yongqi looked towards his father with a pained expression. Dumb? His father actually said that he was stupid. This was something that had never happened before. In the past, she had always praised him for being smart and thoughtful. But now, she was calling him stupid. This sudden change was too big. Father, Liang Yongji didn't know what to say. What else could he say when his father had already said this much? Old Master Liang waved his hands in disappointment. Go and heal up first. You don't need to ask about this matter. For some unknown reason, he thought of his eldest son whom he had once disliked. They compared each other. He actually felt that his eldest son was much more mature than his third son. Perhaps this was what they called liking the new and hating the old. Liang Yongji wanted to say something but hesitated. He sighed, lowered his head, and left. He had a bad feeling about this. His father's attitude towards him was not as warm as before. This was a dangerous signal. He thought of a possibility. It must be Big Brother trying to curry favor with father to steal father's love from him. Damn it. Liang Yongji didn't say much and left. If he told his father too much now, it would only cause his father to be unhappy. On the way out, seeing Liang Yichu walk over, his expression changed. He mocked, Big Brother, you really have a way. Let's wait and see. Liang Yichu smiled. Third brother, helping father share his worries is our duty. Scoff. Liang Yongji scoffed coldly and left right away. Lin Manor. Lin Fan returned to the courtyard. He laid on the chair in the courtyard and closed his eyes to rest. The stats of the small support system were not bad. Rage points, 5231. He had some gains. Life was just like that. He took it slow and didn't rush. When he was experiencing life, it was a good choice to add points. After Zhou Zhongmao returned, he headed to the reading room. Who knew what his father wanted cousin to do? There were so many people in the Lin Manor, but he wanted cousin to go. It was obvious that he wanted to split up the people around him. Within the reading room, Uncle, cousin lacks people by his side. If I leave, what will happen if cousin is in danger? Zhou Zhongmao said. Truthfully, he really didn't want to go. He just wanted to stay by his cousin's side. Lin Wani glanced at him. Danger? Your cousin causes trouble everywhere, and all the danger comes from himself. If you help him bully people, you will be making enemies for him. Zhou Zhongmao was helpless. It seemed like he couldn't hide from this matter. Cousin, during this period of time, be low profile and don't cause trouble. If you offend strong people, you might even be beaten up. There is a huge pirate faction at Wei River. Bring people to wipe them out. Lin Wani said. Uncle, isn't Wei River under the control of the Yuan and Liang families? Why should our Lin family care? Zhou Zhongmao asked. He still remembered what happened at that time. The Yuan and Liang family heads came to the Lin family and said that they wanted to split the power around Wei River. He thought that the two families were asking for trouble, so how would Uncle agree? He didn't expect that Uncle would agree and give the two families the Wei River side. At that time, he was young and didn't understand the reason behind it. Now that he was older, he still didn't understand. Lin Wani frowned. Zhongmao, you have been with your cousin for so long, why do you ask so many questions? Yes, uncle, Zhongmao is wrong. Zhongmao will head out now. Zhongmao said. It seemed like it was because he spent so much time with his cousin. In the past, he wouldn't ask such questions. Lin Wani waved his hands, and Zhongmao left to organize his men and head over to Wei River. Old master, those pirates aren't strong enough. Only that leader's cultivation is decent, but facing Zhongmao's martial path grade 8 cultivation, he isn't strong enough. Old Wu said. Scoff, with Zhongmao's cultivation, those pirates aren't strong enough, but they are cunning. It won't be so easy to wipe them all out. Let him head out for a period of time, let's see how that unfilial kid bullies people. Lin Wani said. This matter was done on purpose. That night, Lin Manor was really silent. Lin Fan wanted to control the bugs to walk around the Yuan family granary. However, thinking about how tired he was yesterday, he told himself to forget it. Forget it, let's forget it today. Tomorrow, when I feel better, I will come and play. He laid on the bed and quickly fell asleep. Who knew how long passed? Pung! An ear-piercing sound spread out. Quang dang! Lin Fan tilted his body, his eyes opened wide. What did he see? A dagger stabbed into the side of the bed, just a few centimeters away from his face. The dagger was still trembling. If it was aimed at his head, wouldn't he lose his life? Damn, are you done or not? Lin Fan got up and used one hand to support himself on the bed. He looked outside through the window, and a black shadow appeared under the moonlight. Assassin. It was that assassin again. Is there something wrong with you? Why do you keep looking for me? Lin Fan scolded. There was definitely something wrong with him. What did he do to him? Was there a need to look for him in the middle of the night? The assassin didn't say a word and instantly moved. He stepped in the air, using his high lightness technique, and leaving a row of shadows in the air. The dagger stabbed into the side of the bed buzzed and flew back into the assassin's hands. He didn't say anything and directly attacked. Chapter 49. Killing Intent. Killing intent surged from the enemy's body, making it hard for him to breathe. Lin Fan retreated to the corner and grabbed the long saber that was used as a decoration on the wall. He pretended to be calm and pulled out the saber with a clang. This place is too narrow, let's go out and fight. Without waiting for the assassin to say anything, he pushed open the door and walked out. Actually, he panicked. He had been wary of the assassin, and if he attacked, the situation wouldn't be good. The moment he walked out, he ran to the courtyard and shouted, "There is an assassin, come quickly, where did they all die to?" "Xiao!" A voice spread into his ear. Before he could react, the dagger sliced off a lock of his hair and stabbed into the wall of the courtyard. A drop of cold sweat rolled down from Lin Fan's forehead. This assassin was a little different. It was like he was serious. The feeling of being covered by death made him feel terrified. "Father, do you know that your son is about to be killed?" He didn't expect that being a rich family kid would be so dangerous. It was okay if he met an assassin once, but now the assassin came every day. How could he live? Outside, the guards protecting him were all lying on the ground. They didn't move at all, and who knew if they were dead or alive? Suddenly, a cold glow struck him from behind, aiming for his head. Lin Fan rolled and slashed with the blade in his hand. With a clang, sparks flew as the blade and the assassin's dagger clashed. A strong internal strength struck him. Pung! His arm shook from the internal strength. He rolled and tried to maintain a certain distance from the assassin. In the blink of an eye, when he stabilized his body, the assassin appeared in front of him. The dagger spun in his palm and struck towards his neck. His speed was just too quick. Even if he raised the vengeful tiger blade technique to the highest realm, his combat experience was just too weak. His body reacted instinctively, and in front of such danger, he exploded out with shocking potential. But even then, a wound was left on his neck and fresh blood seeped out. It was really shallow. It was just a flesh wound. I really will die. Lin Fan touched the wound. It didn't hurt much, probably because his physique rose to martial path grade 3, which increased his endurance towards injuries. He broke out in a cold sweat. This was for real. This was the backyard of the Lin mansion, so it should be easy for him to be safe. But for some reason, Lin Fan felt that there was no place for him to hide in this area. The other party was able to appear beside him in the shortest time possible. I have to be serious. If I am careless and get killed by the assassin, then I will be at a huge disadvantage. Lin Fan gripped the knife in his hand tighter. He lowered his body and tried to minimize any openings. Although vengeful tiger blade technique was a normal blade technique, it was the basics. Returning to true, using the simplest method to cause the most damage. Bang! While he was in a daze, the assassin attacked him, the dagger in his hand gleaming under the moonlight. I can only hope that the commotion here will attract the attention of others. Lin Fan took in a deep breath and growled. Tiger fiend. A small amount of internal energy was transferred to the long blade. A black tiger roared and slashed at the assassin. Clang! They collided with each other, and a dull sound came from the backyard. Too slow, there are openings everywhere. Just as Lin Fan thought that he could hold on, the assassin opened his mouth. His voice was really dark and sunken. Instantly, the assassin turned sideways, the white dagger slashed along the blade all the way to the handle before slanting. Poochie! Lin Fan's stomach was ripped open, and his clothes were ripped open. Fresh blood seeped out and dyed his clothes red. See? So painful. The pain from his skin tearing made Lin Fan frown. The assassin didn't hold back and attacked from the back. This was a backstab, and if he was stabbed, the outcome would be catastrophic. Damn! Lin Fan hollered. He turned his head and raised the blade in his hand. With a clang, he blocked the backstab of the dagger. Pung! The opponent's internal strength was too thick. The strength that exploded out was just too strong. Lin Fan flew backward. His back smashed into the bricks, and he felt a burning pain. So strong, he is much stronger than me. At points. At such a moment, he didn't think too much and directly added rage points to internal strength. Internal strength. 90, martial path grade 3. At the same time, he raised Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture. Consumed 1,000 rage points. Heart cultivation. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, grade 2, after leveling up, his body underwent a shocking change. The internal strength in his body became thicker and thicker. The Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture's internal strength automatically rotated, and it actually had the effect of recovering injuries. The assassin was slightly shocked as he noticed the changes in Lin Fan's body. Did he break through? He just had to test it out and he would be able to see. Pung! The assassin lowered his body like a swallow, sticking close to the brick ground as he closed in on Lin Fan. The dagger in his hand was covered in a thin layer of light. Too much. Lin Fan was furious and slashed out with his blade. This blade was really different from before. A purple light covered the blade. Although it was really thin, it really existed. The aura that it gave off was much stronger than before. Clang! They clashed together. Lin Fan realized that this blade was much stronger than before, and it didn't feel like he couldn't block it. The assassin who was wearing a mask slowed down a little. To an expert, that was a weakness. However, moments later, Lin Fan didn't notice such a weakness. The assassin's expression was one of rage. The dagger in his hand shook slightly and the blade was pushed aside. He then waved his arm and the dagger sliced his chest. Fresh blood seeped out. What a waste, your breakthrough just now shocked me. You revealed a weakness, but you didn't treasure it. The assassin didn't say any nonsense to Lin Fan. The dagger in his hand was like a poisonous snake. It was hard to pinpoint where it would come from. After a long while, Lin Fan supported himself with one hand and panted. There were many wounds on his body, and fresh blood dyed his shirt. He had tried his best. However, he wasn't the assassin's match at all. Suddenly, a voice spread out from the distance. Damn assassin, you actually dare to behave so arrogantly in the Lin manner. Old Wu attacked, his fingers opened and he grabbed towards the assassin. The assassin looked at Lin Fan and instantly disappeared from the spot. I will come again. Old Wu landed beside Lin Fan. Young master, are you okay? Lin Fan's body was drenched in sweat and he panted, Look at me, do I look okay? We fought for so long, so why did you only come now? The moment he said that, he used up too much stamina and fainted right away. Reading room. How is that unfilial kid? Lin Wanyi asked. Old Wu replied, I told people to take care of him. He is exhausted and is temporarily unconscious. He then thought about something. Old master, you are too vicious this time. He really didn't expect old master to be so merciless and actually cause so many injuries on young master's body. Although they were all superficial wounds, the loss of blood was still dangerous. Lin Wanyi said expressionlessly, Only when death covers him can he break through his limits. In the past, that unfilial kid was still so mischievous. Now that his life is in danger, only then will he pay attention. The effect is not bad. He broke through in battle. Old Wu could only pray that young master could hold on. Old master was really serious this time. P.S. Thank you, book friend 20171130004559159159, 20,000 reward, thank you. Chapter 50. Early morning. The assassination of the Lin family's young master was a huge matter. However, things didn't go according to one's wishes. There wasn't even the slightest commotion. It was really painful. Lin Fan slowly opened his eyes. His entire body was aching. Even when he raised his arm, it hurt a little. Young master, you are finally awake. Go Zi cried and his eyes were still red. Last night, he was ked and fainted. When he woke up, he found out that the young master had been attacked by an assassin again, but he didn't even see the assassin's shadow before he fainted. Seeing the injuries on the young master's body, her heart ached and she wished that she could bear these injuries for the young master. In his eyes, this assassin was a bastard who even dared to harm the young master. Yes, I'm awake. I thought I was dead. Lin Fan touched his body. He was wrapped in bandages. This was the mark of a severely disabled person. The door was pushed open. Young master, old master is here to see you. Lin Wanyi looked at Lin Fan who was lying on the bed and knew that he was the one who did it. But he couldn't appear too fake. This unfilial child still had some brains. Fanner, are you okay? Lin Wanyi walked to the side of the bed and sat at the side. When he saw that his unfilial son was injured, a sad expression appeared on his face. He said sternly, Old Wu, investigate. I want to know who dared to hurt my son. Yes, master, Old Wu replied. It was a play. It was a one-man show. The one who wanted to find him was the old master, and the one who beat up the young master was also the old master. Even if the old master did not admit it, they would never be able to find him. Dad, didn't you tell me the last time that you knew the assassin? You were the one who beat him up 10 years ago. Since you know who he is, can't you find him and beat him up? Lin Fan said. Lin Wanyi was stunned. Did I say that? Fan don't worry about this matter. Father will definitely avenge you. Don't go out during this period of time. Rest well and recuperate. Lin Wani had achieved his goal. Seeing his unfilial son become like this, he was very happy. The beating last night was not in vain. Walking on the edge of death was the best way to grow. Father, I got it. One day, I'll definitely beat that old B** starred up to the ground. Lin Fan said. Rage points plus 123. Lin Wani squinted his eyes. Old animal? Aren't you scolding me? Lin Fan was stunned. Where did the rage points come from? He was injured, so which bastard added fuel to the fire? Inside the house. Only Lin Fan was left. If he went out like this, he would probably be laughed at by his enemies. He moved his body. His wound still hurt a little. This person was really ruthless. There were at least 10 wounds all over his body. If his face was injured, it would probably be disfigured. I just want to live a peaceful life as a rich young master. Why do you always have to bully me? He couldn't accept it and he was furious. How many times had it been? He wanted to pull the assassin in front of him. Don't you think it's too much to slap the other party in the face? Every time, the attack would come in the middle of the night, when the person was still asleep. If he had an indescribable sweet dream, he would be so scared that he would fall to the ground. From then on, the title of 1 second wolf would probably be pressed on his head. I was attacked last night. He quickly added points. The addition was quite reliable. Physique. 90, Martial Path Grade 3, Internal Strength. 90, Martial Path Grade 3, Heart Cultivation. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, Grade 2, Cultivation Technique. Vengeful Tiger Blade Technique, Returning to True, Bug Controlling Technique, Basics. Rage Points. 1, 354. Now that his physique and internal strength were both at Martial Path Grade 3, there shouldn't be anyone who worked harder than him. A one-sided development wasn't enough. Since that was the case, then he would develop in all directions to improve together. The Vengeful Tiger Blade technique is a little weak, it isn't strong enough. I am actually helpless against an assassin. Lin Fan dissed. He thought that raising it to returning to true was already very strong. But who would have thought that it would be useless to try and get stronger? If Lin Wani found out, he would probably smash Lin Fan's head. To be able to say such words, how could he continue to be arrogant? With Lin Wani's strength, fighting Lin Fan was like an adult beating up a kid that didn't even know how to walk. Everything that he had prepared, it was messed up by what happened recently. At the start, he thought that he was the young master of a rich family. His father was so strong, so who would dare to find trouble with him? Now it seemed like there really was. Look at the situation now. He was beaten until he was paralyzed on the bed. He sat cross-legged. He activated the Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture. The effects of raising the Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture to Grade 2 were obvious. His internal strength was much stronger, and at the same time, the purple internal strength had a shocking change. If one was more specific, that was, it had a special attribute. The blade last night had a purple glow on the blade. It was much stronger than before. Although it didn't do much to the assassin, it did become stronger. That night, the sky slowly turned dark. There were guards patrolling outside. Lin Wani sent them. If he didn't do all that, he would have been afraid that the unfilial kid would suspect him. Who? Lin Fan spat out a mouthful of dirty air. His injuries were much better. Heart cultivation was really strong. His wounds had already scabbed, and maybe tomorrow, there would only be light pink marks. His internal strength reached Martial Path Grade 3, and his bug control range was much larger. With him as the center, it was enough to form a 50-meter radius. The Yuan and Liang families were his only joy in U City. If he didn't mess with them, who else could he mess with? The earthworms came out from the soil. Based on his senses, there were some changes. Although their surface was still soft, their swallowing ability was much stronger. Bug controlling technique could control bugs, and the strength of internal strength could increase the strength of the bug. Now that he had reached Martial Path Grade 3, he was naturally much stronger than before. Who knew how long passed? Lin Manor was really quiet, and there was no movement at all. Occasionally, one would hear the footsteps of the guards patrolling outside. Yuan family granary. Old Master Yuan learned that the Liang family granary was robbed. He was afraid that his family would repeat the same mistake, so he specially added more patrolling guards. At the same time, there were guards guarding the granary. The 3 guards sat there, eating the dishes without drinking any wine. The candles on the table were specially made to prevent the flames from leaking out and lighting up this place. This is so boring. Who is so bold to actually rob the Liang family granary, scaring the family head so much that he told us to guard here and suffer for nothing? Who knows? I think the Liang family did it on purpose. How can so much grain be moved away in one night? Let's not talk about it, let's not talk about it. If we want to eat, we have to work. I will sleep for a while, you all can talk. At that moment, an ant climbed onto a guard's hand. The guard didn't care and directly pinched it to death. He then tossed it to the side and laid on the table to sleep. Lin Fan controlled the ant and couldn't see what was going on. However, based on the signals that were sent back, he knew what was going on. The Yuan family is smart, to know to arrange people to guard the granary. However, do you think they can guard it with just this? Keep dreaming. I won't change my name, I won't change my surname. I am the Grain Thief Fan. Are you all afraid or not? Anyways, I am afraid myself. Chapter 51. The sky is bright. Lin Fan opened his eyes. He sat cross-legged for an entire night. Even if he didn't sleep, he didn't feel tired at all. It seemed like this was the ability of having a high cultivation. He ripped open the bandages, and it was as he had guessed. The wound had already healed. Young master, aren't you going to rest? Go Zi carried a basin and helped Lin Fan wash up. Lin Fan wiped his face. There is no need to rest. There is nothing to do anyway. Lin Manor entrance. Old Master Yuan's expression was extremely ugly. Yuan Tianchu followed beside him with a cold expression. Old Master Yuan, look at this. This is lawless. Like I said, this granary matter was definitely done by Lin Fan. Apart from him, there is no one else. Liang Yongqi said. Something huge happened this morning. The Yuan family granary was cleared out. When the 3 people guarding the granary woke up, they realized that it was empty. They were so terrified that they ran and roamed the world. If they reported it, naturally, the outcome would be obvious. The enraged old master might very well kill them on the spot. This was reported by the guard who was guarding the granary outside. They saw the 3 brothers inside. They opened the door and said that their house was on fire. When they left, they smiled. After a certain distance, they fled. They were really quick. Even horses couldn't run as fast as them. They then entered the granary curiously. The scenes inside terrified them so much that they fell to the ground. They crawled and rolled back to report. Damn. Why did the 3 of them run so quickly? So, there was no grain in the granary. Did they swallow all the grain last night? As for why Liang Yongqi was with old Master Yuan, that was a little interesting. Liang Yongqi was sure that Lin Fan was the one who robbed their granary. However, he didn't eliminate the possibility that it was done by the Yuan family, so he arranged for people to wait there. In the end, he learned that their granary was also robbed, so he rushed over. He patted his chest and said, Old Master Yuan, both our granaries were robbed. Only his Lin family didn't. That was enough to prove that the Lin family had something to do with it. Let's head over to ask for an explanation and let the Lin family open their granary for inspection. Third young master, this matter isn't confirmed. Don't be rash. Although old Master Yuan was furious, he still had a brain. Liang Yongqi was so rash and insisted that it was done by the Lin family. Did they want him to have a conflict with the Lin family? Father, what Brother Liang said is not unreasonable, Yuan Tianchu said. His perception of Lin Fan was really bad. Liang Yongqi had been bullied by Lin Fan many times, and they had a common enemy, so he stood on Liang Yongqi's side. Old Master Yuan looked at his son. Dumb, brainless. Inside the mansion. Go Z, pack up. Something big is going to happen today. Lin Fan casually ate his breakfast. His heart was pounding. Go Z was really impressed with his young master. Every day, he would go out to roam the streets, not to bully the commoners, but to specifically target the Yuan and Liang families. Fortunately, his master was powerful enough to suppress them. Otherwise, something big would have happened. Yes, young master. Go Z was looking forward to what was going to happen today. He didn't know who would be the unlucky one. There was also that despicable assassin. He suspected that he was sent by the Yuan and Liang families because young master had always made them suffer. He exited the courtyard. He wanted to leave the mansion. Who would have thought that the Yuan families, old and weak, as well as third young master Liang, would come? The sun is a little blinding today. Why did you all come to my house? Lin Fan smiled and asked directly. When enemies met, their eyes turned red. Lin Fan didn't even say anything and rage points struck him. Rage points plus 66. So little. Without even looking, he knew that it was Liang Yongqi's. He was beaten up several times, but his heart didn't collapse. One had to say that the young master's skin was really thick. Normal things couldn't destroy it. Liang Yongqi clenched his fists, and his eyes turned red. However, when he thought about what happened today, he just laughed coldly. Dog, I will teach you a lesson later. He could swear to the heavens, and even use his father to swear that the granary was robbed by the Lin family. If it wasn't, he was willing to let his father be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. Yuan Tianchu squinted his eyes. Although he didn't do anything, rage burned in his heart. Fan don't be rude. At that moment, Lin Wani walked over. He found it weird. Why did the Yuan and Liang families come to the Lin manor? He didn't know about the Yuan family granary being robbed. The moment the Yuan family granary was robbed, Liang Yongqi eagerly tricked the Yuan family to come over to ask for an explanation. Brother Lin, please forgive me for disturbing you so early in the morning. Old Master Yuan cupped his fists. It is okay. Lin Wani was in deep thought. What was the reason? Could it be that this unfilial son of his had done something again? Impossible. Liang Yongqi couldn't take it and stepped out. Old Master Lin, the Yuan family granary was robbed too. Just like our Liang family, not a single grain of rice was left. Lin Wani was stunned. What? Granary was robbed? It was okay if the Liang family was robbed, but now even the Yuan family was robbed. He looked towards the unfilial kid at the side. His face was filled with innocence like he didn't know anything. If it was in the past, he definitely wouldn't believe that his unfilial kid could do such a thing. However, what happened recently made him suspect that the unfilial kid was hiding some tricks that he didn't know about. Lin Fan shook his head regretfully. Hayes, what a sick person. Who did it? They are just helping the people get rid of a scourge. No, I am wrong. They are really arrogant and lawless. They shit on old Master Yuan's head and even casually threw the paper they used to wipe there but on his face. That's too much. Rage points plus 88. Rage points plus 222. Yuan Tianchu stared at Lin Fan in rage. Bastard, those words were just too much. He was just fanning the flames. You are just crying like a cat crying for a mouse, Liang Yongqi said in disdain. Third young Master Liang, your words are a little too much. How am I being merciful? How am I being merciful? I am just feeling pity and regret towards the Yuan family. If you don't know how to speak, then don't. It is so boring to listen to. Lin Fan didn't give Liang Yongqi any face. This fellow was a monster, A monster who loved to be humiliated. He loved to come and scam people every day. Rage points plus 88. Liang Yongqi was furious and then said, Our Yuan and Liang family granaries were robbed, but the Lin family didn't. I don't need to explain the problem within, right? Lin Wani didn't bother about Liang Yongqi. Instead, he was thinking that this unfilial kid was really strong. He actually robbed the Yuan family granary in one night. What did he want to do with so much grain? Didn't he want to keep it for winter? Don't ask how he was so sure. Apart from this unfilial kid, who else could it be? He saw through it right away. Why does that sound so strange? It's like I'm the one who stole your food. Lin Fan said and then turned his head. Old Master Yuan, I advise you to be careful of the people around you. People might die if they try to sow discord. Who knows whether or not the Liang family purposely emptied out their own granary and then stole yours too. In the end, they came to bluff you to make you take the bait. Be careful. Lin Fan's words were sincere and he stirred up the waters. Surname Lin, stop slandering me and framing me. Liang Yongqi hollered in rage. Rage points plus 111. It broke 100. Third young Master Liang's rage points finally broke 100. It was just too tough. Chapter 52. Liang Yongqi was still too dumb. Even if Lin Fan didn't have a close relationship with his father, he knew that the Yuan and Liang family feared his father deep down in their hearts. They just didn't want to admit it on the surface. Young people were still too young. They didn't know the world. They were talking about Liang Yongqi, who didn't know anything at all. He actually shouted in the Lin family, how preposterous. Old Liang, I advise you to be kind. Lin Fan said helplessly. Liang Yongqi was infuriated by Lin Fan. If they were in the wilderness and no one knew where they were, he swore that he would beat him up so badly that his parents wouldn't be able to recognize him. Old Master Yuan said, Brother Lin, I didn't suspect the Lin family, but since things have already happened, the target is too obvious. Lin Wani smiled. Brother Yuan, let's not beat around the bush. Just say what you think. I am a reasonable person, and if possible, I will cooperate. Okay, thank you Brother Lin for your understanding. Old Master Yuan cupped his fist. Although he would fight Lin Wani in the dark, he believed that Lin Wani wouldn't do such a vicious thing. Father, why don't we head to Old Master Yuan's granary to take a look? Maybe we can find some clues. Lin Fan said. Liang Yongqi muttered, Clues? My Liang family granary was robbed, and even Mr. Zhu didn't find anything. Do you think you can? Lin Fan glanced at Liang Yongqi. What are you afraid of? I didn't say that I would definitely find anything. I just want to take a look. Also, I suspect that you did it. Yuan family's granary was robbed, and we didn't even know about it. Weird, really weird. Yuan Tianchu looked at Liang Yongqi and was stunned. That's right, other people didn't know, but Liang Yongqi rushed over right away, and even said that it was done by the Lin family. That was just too weird. Rage points plus 111. Don't slander me. Liang Yongqi's face flushed red. He then cupped his fists towards Old Master Yuan. Old Master Yuan, my family granary was robbed, so I suspected that the thief was still in the city, so I arranged people to observe. After the granary was robbed, I arranged people to be there, so I found out right away. He didn't expect Lin Fan to be so cunning. He was trying to kill him. It was so King cheap. Heis, this explanation is too forced. The more you explain, the more guilty you look. Lin Fan said. Liang Yongqi hollered, Lin Fan, stop framing me. Rage points plus 233. It turned out that he had quite a bit of potential. He was immediately angered by Lin Fan and exploded with 233 points. Lin Wani didn't stop this and just watched. For some reason, he suddenly felt that his unfilial son was much better than the Liang family kid. You're so good with words. Liang Yongqi was so angry that he almost jumped up. Why hadn't he discovered this before? Lin Fan said calmly, "Whether or not I am framing you, I just have to go take a look." Looking at you, it seems like you want to push this matter onto my Lin family. It is hard for one not to think too much. Old Master Yuan, don't you agree? Old Master Yuan wouldn't fall out with Lin Wani. Brother Lin, you've seen a lot. Why don't you come with us? Lin Wani didn't reject. He wanted to see what this unfilial kid had up his sleeves. They were having a great time. He repeatedly said that he wanted to go to the Yuan family's granary to take a look. How could he be fine in such a hurry? Yuan family granary. A bunch of people arrived. Many commoners found out that the Yuan family granary was robbed and surrounded. What was going on recently? Why did one house after another get robbed? Who was so bold to even do such a thing? That was just too terrifying. Old Master. The Yuan family guard trembled as he opened the door to let Old Master in. Lin Fan looked at the situation around him and sighed. This thief is really meticulous. He didn't even leave a single chicken or dog, not even a grain. He's really meticulous. Lin Wani looked at his unfilial son. He was praising himself. Meticulous. If he didn't solve this matter and confirmed that it was the Lin family who robbed, he would lose a lot of face. Brother Lin, look at the situation here. Everything was robbed in a night. When the 3 guards noticed that the grain was gone in the morning, they had already fled and disappeared. Old Master Yuan said. They definitely ran. If they didn't, they would have lost their lives. Lin Fan said. Lin Wani said, to be able to steal the granary in a night, that isn't something a normal person can do. Lin Fan, who was pretending to investigate, laughed in delight. It definitely wasn't something a normal person could do. That was done by this young master. His methods were really legendary. If there was a thief ranking, just these 2 matters alone would definitely be in the top 2. Liang Yongqi pulled Yuan Tianchu to the side and looked at Lin Fan, who was acting. Brother Yuan, I won't lie to you. The granary was definitely stolen by him. Don't be cheated by him. That day at Drunk Fragrance Pavilion, he personally told me that he was the one who stole it. Think about it, don't you think that it isn't right? Yuan Tianchu believed Liang Yongqi's words, who asked him to have conflicts with Lin Fan. He definitely hoped that Lin Fan was the one who stole it. In the end, he would find evidence to make him feel ashamed. Suddenly, Lin Fan, who was searching, exclaimed, "Come take a look, there are clues here." Everyone crowded over. An ant died there. Looking closely, one would notice that the ant was stepped to death. It is just an ant, Liang Yongqi said. Old Master Yuan frowned. He picked up the ant and took a close look. Just at that moment, Lin Fan exclaimed, "There is a small hole here, and there are grain remnants." Everyone looked over. As expected, it was a small hole. It was really small, and even if one looked closely, it was hard to notice. Lin Wani was helpless. Unfilial kid, you are just too obvious. Other people can't see it, only you can. Can you act more like it? Old Master Yuan, ant, grain, small hole, do you think of anything? Lin Fan raised his head and asked. His expression was like he was saying that he could definitely think of it. Think about it. Old Master Yuan thought about it for a long while before raising his head and saying, "Ants stealing grain." Right, ants stealing grain. His methods are really amazing. No wonder we couldn't notice it. Even if we were there, we wouldn't be able to defend against it. Lin Fan said. Old Master Yuan, bring water over. Old Master Yuan ordered the guards to bring water over. Liang Yongqi and Yuan Tianchu looked at Lin Fan's actions and were totally confused. Especially Liang Yongqi, who laughed coldly. I'd like to see what kind of reasoning you can give me. The guards brought the water over. Lin Fan took it and slowly tilted it. He got close to the small hole and poured it in. DD. Water flowed into the hole and occasionally there would be bubbles. Follow me out. Lin Fan walked out of the granary and came to the opposite corner. Everyone didn't know what he was going to do. They saw Lin Fan take a knife from the guard's hand and slice open the dirt outside. The dirt that was sliced open had water flowing, which proved that it was connected. Lin Fan said, "Do you see that? This tunnel is connected. Now we can prove where the grain is being transported." "Old Master Yuan, do you have a map of Yu City?" "Yes," Old Master Yuan said. The map was placed on the ground. Lin Fan squatted there and wanted to continue speaking. However, everyone was standing, so it was useless. "Squat down. We are so high up, so how can we see clearly?" Old Master Yuan hesitated for a moment and then squatted at the side. Lin Fan pointed at the map and said, "All of you saw it. The tunnel extends out in a straight line with the granary at the center. It slanted 45 degrees. From this, we can narrow the area to a fan shape. Look at my hand." He reached out and pressed on the map. He moved it forwards and walked a long distance. In the end, he stopped at a corner. That corner was the Liang family granary. However, he didn't say it out loud. "Look, this is the route, the grain transport route." After he said that, he specially pressed on the Liang family warehouse a few more times. Like he was saying, "Do you see that? This is the Liang family warehouse. If there is a problem, go take a look. Liang Laosan, don't frame my Lin family. This route leads there, not to my Lin family. Besides, your Liang family's granary is in the same line as the Yuan family's warehouse. If anyone is to be suspected, it should be your family. Let's not talk about it. I said so much to prove that my Lin family is innocent. Father, let's go." Lin Fan waved his hands. He had said what he needed to say. What was left would depend on whether or not Old Master Yuan had comprehension. If he didn't, he deserved to be robbed. Chapter 53. When he passed by Liang Yongqi, Lin Fan gave a weird smile and patted his shoulder. "Not bad." Liang Yongqi moved to the side, his face filled with disdain. "Not bad, your sister. What the hell was he talking about just now?" He didn't understand at all. Old Master Yuan really disappointed him, actually listening to this bastard's words. If he was Old Master Yuan, he would have flipped out. Just open the Lin family granary, and he would be able to prove everything. So much grain was definitely placed in the granary. Looking on as Lin Fan and the others left, Liang Yongqi walked to Old Master Yuan's side. "Old Master Yuan, how can we let him leave? He was definitely the one who did it." Old Master Yuan looked at the Yu City map and kept silent like he was thinking about something. "Father, what is it?" Yuan Tianchu asked. Old Master Yuan said, "Let's go back first." The moment he said that, he directly left this place, not bothering about what would happen next. Yuan Tianchu was confused and didn't understand what was going on. What was going on with his father? His own granary was robbed, so why didn't he say anything? On the way back, Lin Fan had been thinking that Old Master Yuan had some comprehension skills. He made things so clear, so if he still didn't understand, then he would be so disappointed. Other people didn't dare to say that he was a pighead, but he definitely acknowledged it. "Unfilial kid, you did it, right?" Lin Wani looked at Lin Fan. If this wasn't done by this unfilial kid, then who else could it be? However, he did have a brain. If he insisted that the grain was in the Liang Manor granary, then he was really dumb. "Father, can you stop calling me unfilial kid? That doesn't sound good. Just call me Fan it sounds closer." Lin Fan said. He couldn't let his father call him unfilial kid. If he got used to it, then he wouldn't be able to change it even if he wanted to. Old Wu had a lot of respect for young master. He was really skilled. After returning to the Lin Manor, he was called to the reading room by his father. "Father, what is going on?" If there is nothing, then I have to go back to sleep. I didn't sleep at all last night. Lin Fan just wanted to rest. Although he wasn't tired, he habitually wanted to sleep. Which rich family young master didn't have smooth and tender skin? That was all from nourishment. For someone like him who stayed up all night, it wouldn't be long before he became like his cousin, big and burly. That would be a real rough man. There was no reply. There was a sudden silence in the study. Lin Wani placed his hands behind his back and faced Lin Fan. Lin Fan looked at Old Wu as if asking him what was wrong with his father. Old Wu shook his head and told young master not to speak. At that moment Lin Wani asked, "Are you related to people from Insect Valley and cultivated their secret bug-controlling technique?" There was no doubt. It was a definite question. Lin Fan was shocked. His father was too amazing, wasn't he? He could even see through this. "Young master, is what old master said true?" Old Wu was shocked like he didn't expect young master to actually cultivate Insect Valley's secret technique. He thought that young master had some skills, but who knew that he cultivated the bug-controlling technique? Lin Fan didn't want to hide it. There was no need to hide it from his own family. "Dad, it's like this. That day I was on the street." Before he could finish his words, he was interrupted. "Did you cultivate?" Lin Wani asked. Lin Fan replied, "Yes, I cultivated." To him, if he cultivated it, then so be it. It wasn't a big deal. Moreover, this cultivation technique was not bad, and it was good for stealing things. However, what he said next was like something he heard wrongly. Lin Wani said solemnly, "Disperse your cultivation." "Father, what are you saying?" Lin Fan was stunned. Why did his father want him to disperse his cultivation? He had spent so much effort to add points, and now he wanted him to disperse it. That was just too much. Do you know that you are burying an unstable and dangerous factor in your body? Even Insect Valley disciples can't cultivate Insect Valley's secret technique, but an outsider like you did. If people from Insect Valley find out, do you think you can live? Lin Wani said fiercely. Lin Fan didn't care. "Father, don't I have you to protect me? Moreover, I am in Yu City and didn't go out to mess around." Old Wu said, "Young master, old master is doing this for your own good. You can't cultivate Insect Valley's secret, otherwise, if you are found out, even old master won't be able to protect you." People who didn't know about Insect Valley wouldn't be able to imagine how amazing it was. Old Master and him had experienced the might of Insect Valley. Their methods were really weird and tough to defend against. If normal people met Insect Valley disciples, they would definitely die. It isn't so terrifying, right? Lin Fan felt like things were like this. Wasn't it just cultivating a cultivation technique? It isn't so terrifying? Lin Wani stared at Lin Fan in rage. When you know how terrifying it is, you will already be a corpse. Listen to me and disperse. Don't touch this technique in the future. It isn't something you can touch. If you are found out, I can protect you, but I can't protect you forever. As long as Insect Valley confirms who they want to kill, they won't stop. Only when the target is totally dead will they stop. Lin Wani said. Lin Fan was annoyed. He had to worry about such things even when cultivating a cultivation technique. Wasn't it because he wasn't strong enough? If he was strong enough, he could just wipe out Insect Valley and cultivate the secret technique in front of them. No one would dare to say anything then. "Father, then how do I disperse now?" Lin Fan felt like this life wasn't what he wanted. What he wanted was a carefree life. When he woke up, he would eat, drink, poop, and do whatever he wanted. But looking at the situation, that was just too much. He was forced to do this. Lin Wani grabbed Lin Fan's wrist and sent a thread of internal strength into his body. It wrapped around the special internal strength of the bug-controlling technique. With a purring, the special internal strength of the bug-controlling technique shattered and disappeared into his body. Rage points plus 1,000. He wanted to forget it, Father told him to disperse, so if he didn't, he would fight to the death. Who knew that the moment he dispersed the technique, rage points would actually increase? This seemed like the rage points that were used up when cultivating the bug controlling technique. Dispersing the technique had a return? Fan, don't blame me. I am doing this for your own good. Living is the greatest hope. The bug controlling technique isn't a good thing. When one cultivates it to a high realm, there will be all sorts of weird side effects. Based on what I know, there was once someone in Insect Valley who cultivated the bug controlling technique to a high realm. In the end, a weird change occurred. His butt grew above his head, and his head grew below his butt. Lin Wani's words were sincere, like he was telling a kid a story. If he didn't sleep, someone would take him away at night. Father, are you insulting my intelligence? Lin Fan looked at his father. To prevent him from cultivating, he could even say such things. His butt grew above his head. If he pooped, he wouldn't even need to take off his pants. How convenient was that? Young master, old master's words are true. Old Wu was shocked by old master's words. He could only bite the bullet and act like it was true. Forget it, let's not talk about this. Anyway, I have already dispersed my cultivation. Father, I will take my leave. Lin Fan shook his head. To lie, he could even say such unbelievable words. That was just too terrifying. He walked out of the reading room. Consumed 1,000 rage points. Cultivation technique. Bug controlling technique. Basics. Haze, so boring. Lin Fan shook his head. It was the same no matter how he dispersed it. He just dispersed it. Didn't he start cultivating again? The small support system was not bad. It was really convenient. P.S. Seeking recommendation vote. Everyone, please vote for me if you have recommendation votes. Chapter 54. Back courtyard, within the room. Lin Fan looked at the blade hanging on the wall. For some reason, he held it in his hand. The moment he touched it, there was a familiar feeling. Vengeful Tiger Blade technique rose to returning to true realm, reaching the highest realm of this blade technique. He closed his eyes. A sound spread into his head. This was the sound of the blade. Shwa. The blade slashed out. It was silent, but it was really strong. The Vengeful Tiger Blade technique was known for its strength and didn't walk the nimble path. It focused on killing with one blade, using the unstoppable aura of a fierce tiger to kill everything. Returning to true. Each slash seemed ordinary, but each slash contained an irresistible power. For some reason, he thought about a sentence. The tiger in your heart sniffs the rose. The Vengeful Tiger Blade technique was a strong blade technique, and the weakness was obvious. It didn't have a soft aura, and once he slashed out, there was no way to retract it. Only by fully exploding out could he retract the blade. Perhaps this young master really is a cultivation genius. Lin Fan muttered and comprehended something. Maybe after raising the Vengeful Tiger Blade technique to returning to true, he had a different comprehension. He didn't think about how to improve it, but to get rid of the weaknesses of the Vengeful Tiger Blade technique itself, slowly forming a flawless blade technique. This young master just wants to be a rich young master in peace. But reality doesn't allow that. Since that is the case, then I can only try to raise my strength. When my strength reaches a level where no one can fight me, then whoever dares to disturb my life, I will smash their head. Since he had such thoughts, then he should make them come true. However, dissipating his cultivation opened up a new continent for him, and it was really interesting. He had a backup plan. In the future, if he added points wrongly, he could add them again. He didn't need to worry too much about it. That night, U City was silent. Moonlight covered the entire U City, like it was covered in a layer of frost. At the Liang family granary. Damn. Liang Yongqi looked at the granary with his mouth agape. He didn't know where the grain came from, but he was a little stunned. He swore to the heavens. He really didn't know that there was grain in the granary. He came in the middle of the night not because he knew that there was grain. It was just that his father's attitude towards him had changed recently. He didn't love him as much as he used to, so he wanted to work harder and put on a show. I'll let father know that our granary was robbed and I can't sleep. I'm always wandering around the granary because I want to share the family's worries, unlike some people who sleep soundly and don't worry about the family at all. Therefore, it was necessary to carefully consider who to give the position of patriarch to. But now, he panicked. The appearance of food in the granary was originally a good thing, but now it seemed that it was not a good thing. Young master, this. The guard beside Liang Yongji was also dumbfounded. Didn't they say that the granary was robbed? Then where did this grain come from? Conspiracy, I smell a conspiracy. Liang Yongji's expression was solemn, as if he had discovered some unspeakable secret. He thought about what had happened during the day. That bastard's words had a hidden meaning and was leading old Master Yuan's thoughts, reminding him many times to pass by the Liang family granary. Liang Yongqi suddenly came to a realization. Killing the heart, what a vicious method, framing and framing, wanting my Liang family to have a conflict with the Yuan family and then reap the benefits. What a vicious method. Rage points plus 222. At that moment, when Liang Yongqi thought about that terrifying point, rage exploded out, directly providing Lin Fan with 200 rage points. Other people didn't know who did it, but he did. Unfortunately, even if he told others, no one would believe him. He had already shouted out loud that the one who stole the grain was Lin Fan, so why didn't they believe him? A cold breeze blew over. Liang Yongqi's body shook and he reacted. He opened the doors of the granary and shouted, "Quick, close the doors." The guard reacted and hurriedly closed the doors. He knew what young master was worried about. He wasn't a fool. Someone wanted to frame the Liang family. The night scenery was really beautiful. In the distance, there were two pairs of eyes paying attention to the situation in the granary. "I will go back to inform old master, you continue to watch here." Very quickly, one of them hid into the darkness and disappeared. Within the granary, Liang Yongqi looked at the grain and didn't say a word for a long time. It wasn't that he didn't want to say it, but that he didn't know what to say. There was a voice in his mind telling him to go back and inform his father to solve this matter. However, there was a power that stopped him from moving. That power was greed. "What do you think I should do?" Liang Yongqi asked. The guard lowered his head. "Young master, I don't dare to say." "Say it, it is okay, I won't blame you." Liang Yongqi needed to find a common topic. Logic told him that the grain wasn't lost by the Liang family, but Lin Fan sent it over to frame them. He couldn't leave it as it would be a problem. The guard said, "Young master, someone purposely framed us to let the Yuan family find out. However, they didn't come here, so it meant that they didn't achieve their goal. Logically speaking, this grain is a problem and should be wiped out right away. However, this is also a chance for young master." Liang Yongqi found it weird. "What do you mean?" The guard thought about it for a moment. "Since young master wants me to say it, then I can only speak the truth. Everyone has seen young master's performance recently. Old master's attitude towards young master has also changed and is threatening your position. If you don't do something, you won't be able to suppress it. The chance I am talking about is the grain. If we can transport it away at night and pack it up, then young master will head out to find it. Wouldn't young master's position in old master's heart be firmer, and no one would be able to shake it?" Liang Yongqi was in deep thought and was a little tempted. He was under a lot of pressure recently. In the past, it was great, but suddenly, his father's love for him lessened. That made him feel huge pressure. If he didn't do anything, Liang Yichu would definitely shit on his head. And that makes sense, but it is too dangerous. Liang Yongqi was a little afraid. The guard said, "Young master, danger is often accompanied by opportunities. As long as you succeed, the rewards will be huge. It is late now and no one noticed. As long as young master agrees, I will find a reliable brother to transport the grain away. Tomorrow, young master will search for it. At that time, you will be the one in old master's heart. The guard gave a thumbs up. His words made Liang Yongqi feel a little impulsive. That's right. His words made sense. No one noticed. If he really did it, there would be many benefits. Not bad, not bad. I didn't expect you to be so smart. Liang Yongqi patted the guard's shoulder and said. The guard smiled in a lecherous manner. Young master, you are the true choice of the Liang family head. We all follow you and hope to be your right-hand man in the future to help you conquer Yu City. Liang Yongji laughed. He was moved by the other party's words. He had to do things that made sense. You didn't expect it, right? Old Master Yuan wasn't smart enough. If he came in the day, he might have been framed. What a waste. The heavens are standing on my side. Moreover, he had such a smart guard beside him, so how could he play with him? What a joke. P.S. Please recommend me and also give me tips to buy some ice cream. Chapter 55. Liang Yongqi was a practical person. If he said he would do it and wouldn't hesitate at all. Since he was sure, then what was there to hesitate about? He ordered the guards to find reliable brothers. They had to keep their mouths shut. If they were found out, not only would he be unlucky, but they would too. Very quickly, 6 guards stood in front of Liang Yongqi. Young master, the 5 of them are my brothers and are definitely reliable. Imperial guards were also people with dreams. They also wanted to become top-notch Imperial guards, so they could only help the young master accomplish great things in times of crisis. Only then could they climb to a high position. The 5 guards who were called oversaw the grain in the granary, and their hearts trembled. Didn't the Liang family granary get robbed? Where did the grain come from? Yuan family granary was robbed, so did the grain belong to Yuan family? Liang Yongqi was really nervous. How could he not be nervous? The guard looked at the 5 of them and said, All of you, listen carefully. This matter cannot tolerate any mistakes. Keep your spirits up. As long as it's done, you will be the young lord's trusted aides. You will be able to enjoy glory and splendor. But if anyone dares to cause trouble, you should know the consequences. Liang Yongqi waved his hands. Stop wasting time, hurry up. For some reason, when he was about to do this, his heart panicked like something was about to jump out. Originally, he wanted to inform his father or the Yuan family. Tell them that someone wanted to harm my Liang family and place their grain here. However, I didn't touch a single grain and will return it all. However, the guard beside him was really smart. After analyzing the pros and cons, he actually had some ideas. If he took the risk, he might have huge gains. Outside the granary, on the roof of the building, a pair of eyes looked at the Liang family granary's every movement. Old Master really predicted like a god, sending us to wait here. So, it was really the Liang family who stole it. Now, they want to transport it away. He watched for a long time, witnessing everything that happened. One of the guards left the granary and returned with 5 more guards. At the same time, there were 6 carriages. Liang Yongji watched as the guard put the grains into the sack, and his heart slowly beat faster. As he watched more and more grains, he actually felt a trace of joy. Like victory was in sight and it would be settled quickly. Hurry up, don't delay. Liang Yongqi urged. As long as this matter was done, his position in the Liang family would be unshakable. Apart from him, who else had the ability to possess the position of the Liang clan patriarch? Big brother, don't make things difficult for yourself. Just stay here obediently. Outside the granary. Old Master, as expected, Liang Yongqi came to the granary in the middle of the night with guards. It seems like he wants to transport the grain away. the guard in charge said. Old Master Yuan squinted his eyes and locked onto the entrance of the granary. He originally didn't believe that the Liang family would steal his grain, but Lin Fan's words made sense, so he couldn't help but feel sad. In case Lin Fan was plotting something, he didn't head to the Liang family right away. Instead, he sent people to guard the Liang family granary. He also sent people outside the Lin Manor and the Lin Manor granary. What he was afraid of was luring the tiger away from the mountain and creating a diversion. But the Lin family was quiet and there was not the slightest movement. On the other hand, it was the Liang family who took action. At this moment, the door of the granary opened. A guard walked out and looked around vigilantly. After making sure that there was no one around, he waved his hand and lowered his voice. Quick! The guards carried grain bags and loaded them onto the carriages, bag after bag. Liang Yongqi's heart changed a little. Looking at so much grain in the granary, he panicked. However, when he saw the guards move the grain and the grain bags in the granary decrease, he felt like something huge was about to happen. Old Master, should we act? The Yuan family guard asked. They were furious in their hearts. The Liang family was a bully. They were actually the ones who stole the grain. They even pretended to come to the Yuan family to tell them who stole it. It was just like a thief crying thief. How despicable. There is no rush. Wait. Old Master Yuan said. He wanted to see where they would transport it to. Old Master Yuan's impression of Liang Yongqi was really bad. Why didn't he notice it in the past? He heard that Liang Yongqi had been beaten up by the Lin family young master. Now it seemed like he deserved to be beaten up. Liang Yongqi looked at the 6 carriages filled with grain. His emotions surged. Let's go. Let's transport the grain away. Old Master Yuan and the others followed. Old Master, they are about to head out of the city. With Liang Yongqi's status, the guards naturally didn't dare to stop him. The moment they were about to head out of the city gate, Liang Yongqi noticed that there were 2 blurry shadows in the darkness of the city gates. It was so late at night, so where did these people come from? They weren't going home to sleep. Stop. 2 Yuan family guards blocked the carriage. Liang Yongqi was stunned and a little nervous. However, thinking about his status, he didn't fear them at all. He scolded, "What are you doing? Why are you guarding here in the middle of the night? You even dare to block my carriage. Scram to the side." So, it is young Master Liang. The Yuan family guard cupped his fists. The Yuan family granary was robbed. Old Master told us to guard here and check on the carriages that pass by. Where does young Master Liang want to go in the middle of the night? What is in the carriage? Being questioned like that, Liang Yongqi panicked a little. He had never done such a thing in his life. He was a newbie. He was definitely nervous. He knew that he was guilty and didn't dare to speak loudly. Preposterous. Is young Master Liang's carriage something that you servants can ask about? If you don't want to die, then scram. Don't delay my young master's matters. The Liang family guard chided. They were old hands. They could already lie with their eyes open. Their faces wouldn't turn red and their hearts wouldn't jump. The 2 guards of the Yuan clan did not panic at all. Keep up the act. Our old master is right behind us. He just wanted us to test the waters. Young Master Liang, please don't make things difficult for us. We just want to know what is in the carriage. The Yuan family guard said. Kung. The Liang family guard was furious. He directly pulled out his blade. His meaning was obvious. If they dared to speak anymore, they would chop them to death. Why didn't they see how many people they had here? To dare to block the road and ask, they were asking to die. Liang Yongqi reached out to stop the guards from being violent and said solemnly, "This is the Liang family's secret. If you want to look, you can. But after that, you will have to die. Whoever wants to look, then come." His words were a little vicious. This was something that Liang Yongqi suddenly thought about. Just 2 guards and they dared to look at his carriage. That was just asking to die. So what if old Master Yuan knew? Your Yuan family guards bullied him, so what if he killed them? If it was in broad daylight, he could still feel guilty. However, the full moon hung high in the sky. In the dark of the night, killing 2 guards was definitely not a problem. Suddenly, a voice spread over. This voice was a little familiar, scaring Liang Yongqi so much that he wanted to pee his pants. Secret? Then, let me see whether or not your Liang family dares to kill me. In the night, a person walked over slowly. The 2 Yuan family guards retreated to the side and said respectfully, "Old master." Damn. Liang Yongqi's eyes opened wide and his mouth was agape. He panicked. Chapter 56. Liang Yongqi definitely didn't expect that old Master Yuan would actually appear here. He didn't have sex with his concubine in the middle of the night and actually waited at the city gate, catching him off guard. What should he do? What should he do now? For some reason, Liang Yongqi regretted doing this. He really didn't expect that old Master Yuan would wait for him here. Not good. He thought about a possibility. All of this was predicted by that surnamed Lin. This was a hole he dug and he was waiting for him to jump in. Moments later, Liang Yongqi's thoughts were in a mess. He even regretted it. Why did he have to be so greedy to actually take the risk to transport grain? What was wrong with his brain? No. This had nothing to do with him. The guard beside him told him to do it. He was blinded, so he couldn't be blamed at all. Old Master Yuan, why are you here? Liang Yongqi wanted to calm down, but he couldn't. His hands and feet were trembling. Old Master Yuan squinted as he looked at Liang Yongqi. My Yuan family granary was robbed and I am checking the passing cars. Is there a problem? No problem, that is definitely not a problem. Then, Old Master Yuan, continue to investigate. I will leave first. Liang Yongqi wanted to run. There is no rush. Old Master Yuan blocked his path. Kid, it is late at night and you aren't resting at home. Instead, you brought guards to transport things. What are you transporting? Liang Yongqi swallowed his saliva and smiled. Nothing, really nothing. Just some simple things. Poochie. Old Master Yuan stabbed his fingers into the bag, and instantly, grains of grain rolled out. I am finished. Liang Yongqi's body shook like a shocking secret had been discovered. Kiki. Old Master Yuan's face slowly turned dark and sunken. Kid, this is what you meant by simple things. This. Liang Yongqi's face turned white and he didn't know what to say. Old Master Yuan walked forwards and grabbed a handful of grain. He clenched it tightly, and it fell from his fingers. Kid, this grain belongs to the Yuan family, right? You want to transport it away in the middle of the night because you are afraid of being noticed, right? He really didn't expect. It was actually stolen by the Liang family. During the day, he remembered everything that Lin Fan had told him. However, there were many questions on his mind. If the Lin clan was doing this on purpose, wanting to instigate conflict between the Yuan and Liang clans so that they could reap the benefits from it, then they did not do anything. After he left, he sent his guards to keep an eye on them. He didn't expect it to be true. If it was to frame the Liang family, then this plot could be exposed, but now it seemed that the Liang family had stolen it, otherwise why would they transport the grain in the middle of the night? Old Master Yuan, someone wants to frame me. Liang Yongqi panicked and hollered, it's him, it's definitely him. Lin Fan is framing me, he's framing me. Old Master Yuan didn't say any nonsense. Go, inform Old Master Liang to come to the granary and give us an explanation. Yes, Master, the guard replied. When Liang Yongji heard this, his throat felt like it was being choked by someone. He looked at the guard and realized that the intelligent guard was sweating profusely, as though something terrible was about to happen. Yu City wasn't harmonious tonight. It was dawn. Lin Fan yawned, stretched, and lazily got up. Go Zi, where is he? Lin Fan shouted towards the outside. Go Zi carried a washbasin in. Lin Fan washed up and casually asked, "What happened in Yu City last night?" This was the time to see whether or not old Master Yuan had comprehension. If he really didn't, then he deserved to be robbed. He had already made it so clear. If he didn't have comprehension and couldn't sense what he said, then the grain would really be gone. Young master, I don't know. Go Zi shook his head. He didn't leave the Lin Manor. As for what happened outside, he didn't know. Lin Fan shook his head. Who knows when my cousin will return? He missed him. He really missed him. He had been out for 2 days. Young master, teacher went to Wei River and should be there. As for returning, he will need at least 4 to 5 days. Gozi said. If everything went smoothly. Indeed, 4 to 5 days would be enough. Wei River. Lin Fan thought about it for a moment. He knew that Yu City was just a small place, a secluded city, but it hid many secrets that no one knew about. These were all deduced by him. Yu City's 3 aristocratic families. Yuan, Liang, Lin, these 3 families were the strongest in Yu City. Especially the Lin family, his father's strength was indiscernible, and the Yuan and Liang families feared him. There might not be any problems here. But to Lin Fan, the problem here was huge, and it wasn't as simple as it seemed. However, just thinking about it made his head hurt, and he didn't want to continue. Damn. Lin Fan was shocked. He slept last night, and why did the rage points in the small support system increase so much? Rage points. 4, 7, 16. It increased by a huge amount. What happened last night? Liang Yongqi was found out and was viciously beaten up, and then all the rage points were diverted to him. He came to the hall. He didn't find Lin Wani, so he asked the guard, "Where is my father?" "Young master, old master went out in the morning. He heard that something happened to the Liang family, so he went over," the guard said. The guard didn't know what exactly happened. Lin Fan was delighted. It seemed like he really succeeded. Old Master Yuan's comprehension was not bad, and his analysis yesterday wasn't for nothing. Go Zi, let's go to the Liang family. He didn't even eat breakfast and rushed towards the Liang family. How could he miss out on such a huge matter? Liang Family Hall. Liang Yongqi knelt there, and his face was covered in injuries. These injuries were from being beaten up at night. At this moment, Liang Yongqi felt like he was wronged, and there were tears at the corner of his eyes. "Father, I was framed. I didn't steal the Yuan family grain." Liang Yongqi cried and then looked towards the 6 guards. "If you don't believe me, you can ask them. I really didn't steal it." He was like a dog, and his body felt really uncomfortable. He was in so much pain that he couldn't say it out loud. The guard that Liang Yongqi thought was smart lowered his head and didn't say a word. He shivered. He couldn't say that young master didn't steal it, and he also couldn't say that he asked young master to transport it. If not, he would be the one who bewitched young master. To solve this matter, he would definitely be the scapegoat. Who didn't want to live? They wanted to live too. "Shut up!" Old Master Liang hollered in rage and then said, "Brother Yuan, I didn't know about this. Everything was done by this unfilial kid. I will definitely give you an explanation." Old Master Liang was disappointed in his 3rd son. What did he even do? If he wanted to steal, he had to do it cleanly and not let others catch him. Now that he was caught red-handed, what else could he say? If it was found in the granary, then it would be easy to say that someone framed him to sow discord between the 2 families. But you actually found 6 guards and 6 horse carriages in the middle of the night to transport the grain out of the city. Did you get kicked in the head by a donkey? 3rd young Master Liang, so you are such a person. At that moment, Lin Fan walked in from outside. His tone was filled with sadness and pain. The show was about to begin. He had to earn some rage points too. Chapter 57. Lin Wani frowned. Why did the unfilial kid come here? It's none of your business. Even if they wanted to join in the fun, there was no need to join in like this. The confrontation between the Yuan and Liang families was their business. His purpose for coming here was to be invited to be a notary and to see how this matter was handled. Liang Yongqi turned his head and said furiously, Lin Fan, you did it right? If you are a man, then admit it. Rage points plus 88 inch. Yes, I did it. Lin Fan nodded his head. Liang Yongqi was delighted. He pointed at Lin Fan and turned his head. Listen, he admitted that he did it. It has nothing to do with me, it really has nothing to do with me. Lin Fan said, How can I not admit it? You said that if I am a man, I will admit it. I don't care about anything else, but I do think that I am a man, so I will satisfy your request. You, the finger that Liang Yongqi pointed at Lin Fan trembled. Fan since you are here then come over. This is a matter between the Yuan and Liang family, so you don't have to worry about it. Lin Wani said. He stared at Lin Fan angrily. What was with all this nonsense? Lin Fan came to his father's side. Dad, I'm not being a busybody. I'm just telling the truth. Old Master Yuan, actually I am not willing to believe that third young Master Liang would do such a thing. Lin Fan said. Liang Yongji was stunned. He did not expect this bastard to speak up for him. But Lin Fan's next words enraged him completely. But the truth is the truth. Even if you don't want to believe it, it's useless. I can only hope that third young Master Liang can recognize his own mistakes and not fall deeper into the path of theft. Lin Fan's tone was solemn, and there was even a tinge of heart-wrenching sadness in it. It was like Liang Yongqi had done such a thing and it made one's heart hurt. Rage points plus 123. Liang Yongqi stared at Lin Fan in rage and hollered, You are framing me, you are framing me. Lin Fan shook his head helplessly. Why would I frame you? Why would I frame you? Your arms and legs are grown on your body. Do you think I can control your body? How vicious! Liang Yongqi's face was red as he knelt there. He was sure that Lin Fan was the one who framed him. If he hadn't put the grain in the granary and hadn't been discovered by him, he wouldn't have been greedy and wouldn't have been persuaded by his subordinates to have crooked thoughts. No matter what, it was all because of him. Shut up. Old Master Liang hollered in rage and then looked at the guard not far away. Bring a stick over. Father, third brother might have been possessed for a moment. Liang Yichu pleaded for third brother. He didn't want to see this happen. Third brother was discovered to have stolen grain. What he lost was not only his face, but also the Liang family's face. When Liang Yongji saw this, how could he not know what was going to happen next? He would definitely be beaten up badly. Father, spare me. Old Master Yuan, spare me. It really has nothing to do with me. This guard tempted me to do it. I was blinded by greed. Liang Yongqi cried. The intelligent guard shouted, No, young master, you can't harm me. This lowly one has never tried to bewitch you. At a time like this, he couldn't express his loyalty and take everything on himself. If he was really stupid enough to take responsibility for this matter. Old Master killed them with one blade and used them as scapegoat. Liang Yongji was furious. He didn't expect that the guard that he thought was smart would directly deny it. He was so furious that he wanted to fight with the guard. You still dare to say that you didn't bewitch me? The smart guard shouted, Old Master, I didn't bewitch young master. I am illiterate and have never studied. I only have some brute strength, so how can I say things that make sense? Lin Fan nodded his head. This guard's words make sense. Young Master Liang has studied and knows the principles. How can a guard who hasn't studied be able to bewitch him? Liang Yongji was so furious that he was stunned. He really wanted to get up and fight with this guard. That wasn't what you said before. Didn't the words you said at the start make sense? What danger was often accompanied by opportunities. Such words made sense. Who was the one who said that? Why didn't he know? Very quickly, a guard walked over with a stick. Old Master Liang held the stick in his hand and walked to Liang Yongji's side. Without waiting for the people around to speak, he smacked him. A scream rang out. The stick smacked onto Liang Yongji's back, and the sound was really low and heavy. He saw Liang Yongji fall to the ground, hugging his body and crying out. The blood on his back dyed his shirt red. Lin Fan was shocked. That stick was really vicious. Old Master Liang was a vicious person. He could be so vicious to his own son. If he was an enemy, wouldn't it be even more terrifying? He looked towards the Yuan family side, only to see that old Master Yuan didn't move at all. His eyelids didn't even move. Yuan Tianchu's mouth twitched. It was obvious that he was stunned by that stick. Unfilial kid, you dare to do such a thing. My Liang family and Yuan family have been friends for so many years and have supported one another. You actually did such a thing. I will beat you to death. Old Master Liang hollered in rage and then smacked down once more. Pung! Liang Yongji cried out from the smack. It was really tragic as he hugged his body and rolled on the ground. Father, let me off. I won't dare to do it anymore. Lin Wani drank his tea calmly. It is the father's fault for not teaching his son well. Even if he doesn't grow up, he still has to grow up. I can understand Brother Liang's pain. Only when you hit him hard will you know the pain. If you know the pain, then you will know what you can and can't do next time. Lin Fan lowered his head and looked at his father. Why did he feel like his words weren't just for others to hear but for him to hear? Father's words make sense. I hope that old Master Liang didn't beat me for nothing. Rage points plus 233. After saying that, he gained rage points. Although he didn't know who was angry, anyways it was someone here, so it didn't matter. It was the same. Liang Yongji didn't dare to be arrogant. It was too painful, and his bones felt like they were broken. He could only roll on the ground to lessen the pain. Unfilial kid, do you know that Brother Yuan saved my life when I was young? Now you actually stretch your hand over to Brother Yuan. See if I don't beat you to death. Puff. Another furious smack. Old Master Yuan's childhood memories were brought up by Old Master Liang. At that time, the two of them were still young, just 6 to 7 years old. They were playing around in the city. Old Master Liang's legs were cheap, and when he saw a male wild dog crazily beating up a female dog, he directly kicked it. He disturbed their fun and was chased down several streets. In the end, Old Master Yuan helped to solve the problem. If not, the outcome would have been catastrophic. Old Master Yuan and Old Master Liang had a good relationship when they were young, and they could be considered brothers. It was just that things slowly changed in the future. Screams continued. Liang Yongji trembled and blood seeped out. If this continued, even if he didn't die, he would lose a layer of skin. Enough, this matter will end just like that. Old Master Yuan got up and walked towards the door. Old Master Liang chased and cupped his fists. Brother Yuan, I am sorry. Lin Fan said softly, Father, it will end just like that? Lin Wani glanced at him. What else do you want? Chapter 58. Lin Fan felt really bored. This was totally different from what he thought. Although he was a little unhappy, it was still okay. Looking at Liang Yongqi being beaten up like that, he didn't know what to say. Did the two of them have animosity? Actually, they didn't have any deep hatred. They would occasionally spout nonsense, they definitely wouldn't raise their fists and beat him up. They were quite harmonious. However, this harmony was broken after Lin Fan arrived. When they met in the city, they basically didn't spout nonsense and just raised their fists to beat him up. Liang Yongqi was caught off guard and was in a really tragic situation. He had no choice. Yu City was so big and there were only a few people he could bully. If he didn't bully them, who else could he bully? With the current situation, Liang Yongqi was probably going to leave the stage of history. During this period of time, he probably wouldn't be able to obtain anything from Liang Yongqi. Lin Wani got up and left. He was just a spectator. Lin Fan passed by Liang Yongqi's side and squatted down. He patted his shoulder. "Brother Liang, don't be sad. Rest up, and in 10 days to half a month, you will be a good man. Let me tell you a secret. Actually, you shouldn't have been beaten up like this. I did everything. You have suffered." The moment he said that, Lin Fan didn't say any more nonsense and directly left the Liang manor. "Surnamed Lin, you harmed me." Liang Yongji gritted his teeth and swore in his heart that he would fight this fellow to the death for the rest of his life. Rage points plus 666. Lin Fan, who had already left the Liang manor, stopped and turned his head. Maybe this was the peak of Liang Yongqi's life. Within the room, old Master Liang's face was dark and dark. Rage was suppressing in his body. "Father, you have to believe me. I was really framed by him," Liang Yongqi said weakly. He couldn't let his father think that he couldn't do it, otherwise, he would have to say goodbye to the position of family head. Liang Yichu walked up. "Third brother, stop talking. Rest well. Don't blame father, I did it to save you." "Scram, I don't need your fake compassion." Liang Yongqi pushed his brother away, but the pain swept him. It was so painful that he couldn't take it. Liang Yichu stood at the side and didn't know what to do. Third brother's attitude towards him was just too bad. "The more I think about it, the angrier I get. You unfilial son, how dare you be so rude to your elder brother?" Old Master Liang wanted to suppress the rage in his heart, but when he saw how lawless and arrogant this unfilial kid was, he picked up the rod and struck down. Liang Yongji cried out, losing his will and fainting. He didn't expect that his father would actually stab him in the back. "Father, third brother." Liang Yichu didn't expect his father to make a move. Old Master Liang waved his hand. "I know that Sanzi doesn't dare to steal grain, but he shouldn't have been greedy. If he informed me, then this wouldn't have happened. However, because of his greed, he was framed." There was something fishy about everything. In his heart, he believed that this matter had something to do with the Lin family. But there was no evidence. Wei River. "Kill!" Zhou Zhongmao roared. His inner force boiled and formed a protective shield. He charged into the group of bandits and started a massacre. Not a single bandit could survive in his hands. The surrounding guards were all stunned by the instructor's ferocious appearance. Terrifying, it was just too terrifying. With Zhou Zhongmao at the center, within a few meters, blood flowed like a river. Corpses piled up there, and there were many floating corpses on the river's surface. The river water was dyed red. "Instructor, these are all bandit ants. The leader isn't here." The guard looked around and didn't find the bandit leader. Zhou Zhongmao was anxious. He wanted to solve this matter and return to Yu City to continue spending time with his cousin. Dong dong. Just at that moment there was a drum sound. Many boats appeared in the distance. "You are so bold to actually come to Wei River to find trouble with my Wei River gang. Do you know how to write the word death?" In the distance there was a huge boat. The person who spoke stood there. He was muscular, at least 3 meters tall. His muscles were like tree roots, spiraling around him. In his hand was a giant hammer that weighed 100 to 200 kilograms. He gave off a fierce aura, giving one a huge sense of suppression. "Instructor, we seem to have fallen into an ambush," the guard said warily. They were on the surface of the ocean. This was also Wei River Gang's territory. They weren't as familiar with the terrain as Wei River Gang, so they could only be careful. If they fell into an ambush, the outcome would be catastrophic. Ambush. Zhou Zhongmao didn't care much about it. Fire. A furious roar spread out. Shwa shwa. Instantly, a rain of arrows struck from ahead, covering the sky and land. Wei River Gang was really cunning and would never fight them head-on. Normally, they would send ants to restrict them and then see how strong they were. If they were weak, it would save them a lot of trouble. If they were strong, they would attack from afar to wear them down. Zhou Zhongmao raised his head and looked into the distance. He didn't move at all, wasting my time. Let's deal with this quickly and head back. At that moment, the water surface started to shake and bubbles rose up. Instantly, a strong internal strength exploded out from Zhou Zhongmao's body, forming a shield that covered the boat. Ding ding dang dang. The arrow rain landed, clashing with the internal strength shield, and sparks flew. Teacher's internal strength is too thick. The guards were shocked. They didn't expect Teacher's internal strength to be so strong. This was an arrow rain, and each time it struck, it would consume his internal strength. However, Teacher didn't seem to have any problems at all. The arrow rain disappeared. Many arrows floated on the surface of the lake. Zhou Zhongmao raised his palms and released his inner force. The arrows on the surface of the lake floated up. Then, he pushed his palms forward. Go! Xiu xiu! He returned them all. The pirates were dumbfounded. Even if they were far away. Screams spread over. The pirates wanted to escape. The leader wouldn't do anything he wasn't confident in. The enemy was really strong. You want to run? Dream on. If I let you run, how long will it take for me to complete the mission? Zhou Zhongmao hollered. His knees bent and with a pring, he bounced up. The boat was nearly flipped and waves spread out. Wei River Gang's leader looked at the meteor-like figure and his expression became solemn. This was an expert. In the blink of an eye, Zhou Zhongmao appeared and landed from above. Wei River Gang's leader raised the giant hammer in his hands and struck towards Zhou Zhongmao. You dare to behave so arrogantly here. Die. Zhou Zhongmao didn't panic at all. His fingers formed a fist, and strong internal strength gathered on it. With a pring, they clashed together. The strong impact caused the boat to split apart, causing a shocking water pillar to form. Gotcha! The giant hammer broke apart, turning into shrapnel and falling to the ground. Zhou Zhongmao didn't say anything and attacked right away. He struck the leader's stomach. Poochie! The leader spat out blood. His stomach was pierced through, and it was a bloody mess. One could even see the organs within. With a putong, the leader knelt on the ground, his arms drooped, and he was instantly killed. The surrounding river bandits dropped their weapons and immediately knelt down to beg for mercy. We surrender. Such a terrifying leader was dead. What could they use to fight him? Very quickly. When the guards arrived, they were all astonished. The instructor was too terrifying and rushed, directly coming here alone. What would they do if they met with danger? Teacher, what should we do with these pirates? The guard asked. Zhou Zhongmao's expression was solemn. Kill them all and solve all problems. If not for them causing trouble, Uncle wouldn't have sent me here. There weren't many pirates, but there were a few hundred of them. The guards were shocked and pulled out their blades to execute. That day, Wei River's water turned red. P.S. Thank you, book friend 150711115826180. You will reward me. Chapter 59. Courtyard. Lin Fan had nothing to do, so he stopped. If Liang Yongqi didn't come out, Yu City wouldn't have any more fun days. As for the second son of the Yuan family, one had to say that his luck was good. He didn't even meet this fellow when he strolled around the city. He was too wary and was probably avoiding him. He knew that he was dangerous, so he didn't dare to bump into him. Thinking about it, that was the only possibility. He took a look at the small support system. In the data column, rage points were not bad, it increased by a large amount. Rage points, 5826. Cultivation isn't hard, it is really simple and easy. I just need to add points. The current situation isn't good for me. Who knows when the mysterious assassin will come, so I can only gain some strength. The data of the small support system was too selective. Physique could be added. Internal strength could be added. Heart cultivation and cultivation techniques could be added. To max out all these things, who knew how many rage points he would need? Lin Fan didn't have any problems directly choosing internal strength. This thing was a little amazing. Add points. The 90 points of internal strength slowly increased, jumping bit by bit. Internal strength, 120, martial path grade 4, 3,000 rage points were spent just like that. At that moment, Lin Fan sat cross-legged and sensed the movement of his internal strength. It was getting stronger and stronger. Strong internal strength appeared out of nowhere. It was comparable to the results of many years of hard work. This speed was a little hard to adapt to. It was too quick. Before he could even feel the feeling, it was already over. I can actually look into my body. Lin Fan's body structure appeared in his mind like a movie. It was even clearer than a movie. He guided the internal strength, and there seemed to be a transparent power flowing in his meridians. This was internal strength. Internal strength reaching martial path grade 4. To be able to look into my body, that is a little amazing. Martial path grade 12. Each one could activate a special ability. This grade 4 was a little interesting. The inner sight was not bad. Next, he had to think of a way to get a strong cultivation technique. Wait, the assassin might not come. As long as he didn't come, that meant that he was temporarily safe. Maybe the assassin had forgotten about him. That night, the sky turned dark. Lin Manor was silent once more. Who knew how long passed? There were exclamations and screams, but most of them were scolding. The clanging sounds continued. Sparks would appear in the back courtyard. Who knew what kind of intense thing would happen? It was dawn. Go Zi felt a little sore at the back of his neck. He didn't know what happened last night, but he still held the basin and waited outside. For a long time, there was no sound of the young master getting up. "Young master, are you awake?" Seeing that it was getting late, Go Zi asked appropriately. No sound came. Creak. Go Zi pushed open the door and realized that young master was sitting on the bed with his back facing him. He didn't move as if something had happened. Instantly, he panicked, thinking that something bad had happened to the young master. "Young master! Don't come here. Get out." Lin Fan's voice was very low, as if he had suffered some kind of blow. He urged, "Listen to me, get out. No one is allowed to come in today." Go Zi was at a loss. What exactly happened? However, she still obeyed the young master's instructions and placed the basin in the corner before leaving obediently. After confirming that there was no one around, Lin Fan walked in front of the mirror and touched his face. F***CK, who did I offend? If you have the guts, kill me with a knife. Why does it feel like you're torturing me? The assassin from last night came again. He slept really well and even dreamed that he had become the Lin family head. He could do whatever he wanted and no one dared to offend him. However, before the dream reached its end, the assassin interrupted him. The battle was really intense. His internal strength reached martial path grade 4, and the vengeful tiger blade technique was really strong. When he slashed down, it was really strong, like no one could block it. But it didn't. It was all fake and didn't exist. That assassin was really strong, even stronger than the last time. He forced him to death many times. If not for his strong desire to live supporting him, he would have died long ago. Lin Fan lowered his head and was in deep thought. Why did this happen? He didn't want him to have a good life. Cultivate, I have to cultivate. Not for anything else but to crush this assassin. If not, I won't be able to live peacefully for the rest of my life. Lin Fan clenched his fists. He was filled with unwillingness. Only he could use his identity to bully others, so no one could bully him. Outside, Go Zi felt really uneasy. Something was wrong with young master. Something definitely happened. However, no matter how he thought about it, he was unable to guess what had happened. Within the hall, Lin Wani was really relaxed. He drank tea in the day, and at night, he disguised himself as an assassin to teach the unfilial kid. That unfilial kid didn't disappoint him and improved a little. Old master, young master's improvement is obvious, so you don't have to worry, Old Wu said. He actually had sympathy for the young master. The assassin that he was worried about was actually his father, and he was really skilled. Not bad, internal strength reaching martial path grade 4, improving really quickly. However, this is too weird. Did this kid have a fortuitous encounter? Lin Wani was really curious. If an ordinary person wanted to reach the 4th stage of the martial path, it would take years. However, this kid improved too quickly. A while ago he was martial path grade 3, but last night he was martial path grade 4. Even if he ate pills, he wouldn't have been able to do it so quickly. Old Wu smiled. Maybe this is what good preparation is. Lin Wani didn't believe in the so-called good preparation. Bullshit, this kid was so good, who knew what kind of luck he had? He didn't care much about it. Even when he was young, there were times when he was lucky. How is the barrier over at Wanli Mountain? Lin Wani asked. Old Wu's expression was solemn. Old master, I went to take a look. It is really stable, and there are no problems. However, based on the past situation, it will open up in a few months. Wanli Mountain was a huge mountain hundreds of miles away from U City. It was endless, and if one wasn't familiar with the terrain, it would be tough to walk out. Old master, should we send young master away after a period of time? Old Wu asked. Even if old master didn't say it, he had such a feeling. With young master's cultivation, it was useless for him to stay here, and he would even be a burden. This was why, in old master's words, it was best to send him away. I am thinking about where to send him. Hayes, it is my fault, I offended too many people when I was young. If they found out that I sent my son out, they would bully me. Lin Wani had a headache. When he caused trouble when he was young, he didn't think that he would have a kid, so he didn't care about it at all. In the end, he was careless. Some indescribable things happened, and someone got pregnant, so he had to take responsibility. A few decades passed. Just thinking about it gave him a huge headache. Where to send him? Where would he be safe? Old Wu was speechless. He had seen how fierce old master was. As for whether or not he had many enemies, truthfully, he did have a lot. Actually, thinking about it, the most dangerous place was the safest place. U City was still really safe. Chapter 60. Lin Fan stayed in the manor for a day. This was a shocking matter. Lin Fan, who couldn't stay at home, actually stayed for a day. How shocking was that? Book Pavilion. The place where Lin Manor stored books, cultivation techniques, and heart cultivation. I didn't think about touching this door. Lin Fan stood at the entrance and looked at the door. His mind was in a mess. The bitter days on earth were too decadent. Coming here to become a rich family young master, his life had undergone huge changes. He definitely had to enjoy it. However, with the current situation, he could enjoy it. However, along with some small dangers, he was often forced by others. Who could take that? Young master. The 2 guards in charge of the book pavilion were experts. They weren't weak, they were really strong. Just looking at their energy and that pair of spirited eyes, one could see their strength. They were probably at the top of the Lin Manor. Lin Fan waved his hands, opened the door. In the entire Lin Manor, apart from old master, only young master could enter the book pavilion. The 2 guards didn't say much. They placed their hands on the iron door and used internal strength. With a creak, the iron door slowly opened. These 2 iron doors weighed several thousand kilograms each and had to be opened at the same time. It was a little dark inside. Lin Fan resisted, but since he came here, he was prepared. He entered. The guards closed the iron door. The two of them exchanged glances with one another. Young Master came to the book pavilion. That's right, young Master did come to the book pavilion. The two of them spoke as if they had discovered a new continent. Then, one of the guards exclaimed and went to look for Old Master. They had guarded the book pavilion for a long time. When young Master was born, they were guarding it. As a guard, they hoped that young Master could come often. This meant that they were protecting the legacy of the Lin family and had a huge sense of mission. However, the reality was terrifying. After so many years, they had never seen young Master walk here. They didn't even enter. It does look like it. Lin Fan looked around. It was originally really dark, but when he walked in, there was a bright light. It wasn't candlelight but some sort of glowing stone. He felt that his family was really extraordinary. Even the Yuan and Liang families didn't have such a book pavilion. The bookshelves were all made of wood. They looked a bit old, but they did not rot. There were many books on them. There's a bookmark hanging down. Punches and kicks, sword technique, saber technique, inner force category. There were many different kinds of books, just like a library. He picked one up. Diamond Prajnapam. What the hell? Lin Fan looked at the name of this martial skill and was instantly stunned. Where did this Diamond Prajnapam come from? If he remembered correctly, this was one of the 72 ultimate techniques of the Shaolin sect in wuxia novels. He had to be patient. He turned to the first page. Vajra Prajnapam, the ultimate technique of the Vajra sect. Out of the 12 moves, 10 are missing. You scared me. I knew it. It's impossible for it to be one of Shaolin's 72 ultimate techniques, or else I would have wondered whether I came to the wrong place. Lin Fan patted his chest. It was quite scary. What a pity. Something that was missing. What was the point of cultivating without 10 moves? It was pointless. But forget it, I'll take a look first and remember it. In the lobby. Old Master, young Master went to the book pavilion to choose a cultivation technique. The guard in charge of the book pavilion reported. When Lin Wani heard that, he was shocked. Joy appeared in his eyes. Is what you said true? Definitely, the guard said. That was something that he didn't dare to imagine. If he didn't personally witness it, he wouldn't dare to believe that young Master would actually come to the book pavilion. Let him see number 1, number 4, and number 6 cultivation technique. Lin Wani said. He was familiar with all the cultivation techniques in the book pavilion. He even cultivated a lot of them. The cultivation techniques that he recommended were the ones that he felt were the strongest and were hidden in the dark. Even if normal people entered the book pavilion, it would be extremely tough to find them. Yes, Old Master. The guard hurried back to complete what Old Master instructed him to do. Lin Fan didn't choose a cultivation technique and looked around. There were many incomplete ones. There were very few complete ones. Some of them were normal cultivation technique. For example, the Vengeful Tiger Blade technique was a basic blade technique that focused on the basic. Especially after he cultivated the Vengeful Tiger Blade technique to returning to true. In terms of blade technique foundations, there weren't many people of the same generation who could compete with him. Pung! There was a sound. A secret technique fell to the ground. He picked it up and took a look. Lightning Blade 4 strokes. This was a blade technique, one that was even stronger than the Vengeful Tiger Blade technique. There were a total of 4 moves. However, even 4 moves were enough for a person to cultivate for a lifetime. This cultivation method appeared out of nowhere. There's no wind around, and there are no mice either. How did it appear out of nowhere? Lin Fan muttered to himself as he held the secret technique. He looked carefully. The small support system recorded. He casually tossed it away. Pung! Just as he was about to turn around, another cultivation technique fell. Weird. Lin Fan looked around. Was there a hidden door? Who was playing with him? They knew that he couldn't find the cultivation technique, so they purposely gave him pointers. He picked it up and looked at it. Mixed energy broken jade hand. He looked carefully. The small support system continued to record and then tossed it away. Pung! Yet another cultivation technique descended upon him. Kiki. Lin Fan shook his head. Did they really think he was a fool? Unmovable king body. This was an external cultivation technique used to train the body. It was also the cultivation technique that he lacked now. It was just that this body training technique was a little like a Buddhist cultivation technique. Who cared? He would take a look first. The small support system column. Physique. 90, martial path grade 3, internal strength. 120, martial path grade 4, heart cultivation. Purple Sun 4 Saint Scripture, grade 2, cultivation technique. Vengeful Tiger Blade technique, returning to true, bug controlling technique, basics. Unmovable King body, unlearnt. Lightning Blade 4 strokes, unlearnt. Mixed energy broken jade hand, unlearnt. Rage points. 2. 826 Lin Fan told the guards outside to open the door. The guards were stunned. The young master had chosen the cultivation method so quickly. This speed was too fast. Kachi. The iron door opened. The guards noticed that young master came out empty-handed and asked curiously, "Young master, you didn't choose a technique?" "I did, let's not talk about it." Lin Fan left. The guards hurried to report the situation to old master. Young master came out empty-handed. Did he see the 3 techniques that he pushed out? When Lin Fan returned to the back courtyard, rage points actually increased. Rage points plus 333. Lin Fan was stunned. Who did he offend? He didn't head out yesterday and didn't do anything today, so why did rage points appear? Was it because Liang Yongqi laid on the bed and got angrier and angrier? If that was the case, he was willing to take on his rage. He wouldn't reject them at all. Let the rage come more fiercely. Add points. Physique. 120, martial path grade 4, consumed 3,000 rage points. He directly raised his physique to martial path grade 4. He was only left with 159 rage points. Internal and external cultivation, improving together. This path was not bad. Suddenly, Lin Fan thought of an idea. He wanted to try. Dissipate cultivation technique. Internal strength cleared. Rage points plus 12,000. Add points to unmovable king body. 12,000 rage points could only raise the unmovable king body to reach the peak realm. Kacha. There was a maniacal power in his body like it was about to explode out. He punched forwards. The sound was low and heavy, the air shook. Amazing. Dissipate cultivation technique. He added rage points to mixed energy broken jade hand. He was still stuck at the reach the peak realm, and there was a huge gap from returning to true. He reached out with his 5 fingers. Without the support of internal strength, the strength of the mixed energy broken jade hand couldn't be fully used. The skin color of his palm changed. From silver to sparkling and translucent white to black, waves of black mist were emitted from his palm. He came to the wall. His 5 fingers pressed down. He didn't use much strength. Kacha. A palm imprint was left on the wall. Amazing, if this palm slaps down, wouldn't he be sliced into pieces? Lin Fan exclaimed. As expected from the small support system, it was just so human-like. He casually refreshed it. If he was uncomfortable, he would refresh it to find the most suitable ability for him. Dissipate cultivation technique. Add points to lightning blade 4 strokes. A total of 4 moves. Mountains and rivers moved, gold and jade shattered, ghosts and gods were shocked, and heaven and earth were destroyed. This blade technique needed internal strength to support it. He directly dissipated his physique and raised it to martial path grade 4. Lightning Blade 4 strokes could only be added to the Reach the Peak realm. Heaven and Earth Destruction. Lin Fan hollered and slashed out. The blade light was shadowless, and it was too quick. The blade rubbed against the air, forming sparks and sparks. Small currents surged about. Blade energy gathered, and a bright light shot out. In the blink of an eye, a gully that was more than 10 meters long appeared. It was too quick. He didn't even notice how it was formed. Dissipate cultivation technique. He returned to his previous stats. He was a little excited. These 3 techniques were strong, but he needed them both internally and externally. His physique and internal strength weren't strong enough. If he became stronger, then his strength would be even more terrifying. Lin Fan stood there and muttered in his heart. Small support system, you are tempting me. He didn't want to try it. This was something even more terrifying than cause and effect. No matter how strong one was, one wouldn't be able to go up against it. Chapter 61. Lin Wani found out from the guard that the unfilial son came out not long after entering the library. This made him so angry that his liver hurt. She purposely let him encounter 3 cultivation techniques. Did they really not see it? If he didn't even bring out his cultivation technique, how was he supposed to cultivate? The anticipation from before completely turned into despair. He was still thinking too much. This unfilial son was still the same. He was even too lazy to look for his unfilial son. Looks like I can only go find this unfilial son at night and have a good talk. I'll let him know that when he makes his father angry, his days will be miserable. In the backyard, Lin Fan had experimented with the point cleansing cultivation method and had gained some insight. It was very powerful, and he could slowly study it in the future. Go buy some tonics for me, Lin Fan instructed. Go replied, but he didn't expect anyone to fall sick. What was young master trying to do? Young master, what do you need for these tonics? Lin Fan thought for a moment. Some people say that carrots are like ginseng and eating more is good for the body. Then, buy some carrots and some red amaranth. After stir-frying, the color will be red and it should be good for the blood. Just buy these 2. Make the gift boxes look good. I am going to see someone later. What was Liang Yongji like? Truthfully, this person was not bad. Although he was a little arrogant during this period of time, he had provided him with many rage points. As long as one had a bit of conscience, one should go and visit them. Go was totally stunned. What did the young master want to do? If he was going to visit someone, he shouldn't have brought along some precious things. For example, there was 100-year-old ginseng in the mansion, as well as many expensive medicinal herbs. As for the radish and red amaranth, they were basically vegetables. If he really sent it over, wouldn't he infuriate the other party? However, this was the young master's order, so he could only follow it. As for what would happen in the end, that was a matter for the future. For now, there was no need to think so far ahead. Not long after, the young master prepared all the tonic. The gift boxes were all carefully prepared and looked grand. One look and one knew that they were good stuff. Let's go. After staying at home for a day and a half, the joy of life was too low. Only by walking outside and breathing in the fresh air could he feel that he was still alive. At the entrance of the Liang residence, Go was stunned. He thought about many things, but he really didn't expect young master to come here. When the 2 guards guarding the Liang manor realized that young master Lin had arrived, they were actually a little flustered. Their 3rd young master had been a little miserable recently. There were people secretly spreading rumors that the 3rd young master became so miserable because of the Lin family's young master. This was a dangerous person. He was an expert. He couldn't afford to provoke him, otherwise he would be in trouble. Please inform them that I am here to visit 3rd brother Liang, Lin Fan said. He then pointed at the tonic. Don't worry, I brought it. The two guards looked at Lin Fan strangely. There was only one thought in his mind. Like hell I'll believe you. You are a very bad person. However, they still went to report immediately. Their statuses were not equal, and to put it bluntly, they were just guards. How could they speak arrogantly to the Lin family young master? They wouldn't even know how they died. Very soon, the guard followed old Master Liang out. When old Master Liang learned that the Lin family young master came to visit, he was a little stunned. Did the sun rise from the west? This kid actually wanted to visit his third son? What was he trying to do? Dear nephew, how come you have the time to visit me? Old Master Liang had a smile on his face. Don't underestimate this smile. This smile was filled with a mother-scolding tone. It was as if he was saying, You brat, haven't you harmed my third son enough? You still have the face to come over? Old Master Liang, what are you saying? I saw that third brother Liang was bedridden for many days, so I was worried. I specially brought some tonic over to ask about him. In the past, third brother Liang and I had some conflicts, but it is better to solve them than keep them alive, so I came to take a look. Lin Fan's expression was really sincere, like he was telling the truth. Old Master Liang looked at Lin Fan with a weird expression. Did the sun really rise from the west? It seems like you have grown up. Why are you still standing there? Come in. Old Master Liang smiled. You city's three aristocratic families. On the surface, their relationship was really good. When they met, it was either Brother Lin or Brother Yuan. But behind their backs, they called him Old Dog. There wouldn't be any open conflict. At most, they would fight in the dark, pat their butts like they were brothers. Just like that, their relationship lasted for a long time. Lin Fan smiled as he stepped into the Liang manor and walked towards Liang Yongqi's room. Old Master Liang, you don't need to send me off. I will just take a look at third brother Liang. After I finish, I will leave. Without waiting for old Master Liang to say anything, Lin Fan walked into the distance. Old Master Liang took a look and didn't say anything. This was the Liang family, and this kid wouldn't dare to do anything, so he could be at ease. Courtyard. Lin Fan stood at the door and heard a soft moan from within. The voice was filled with pain. Dong dong. He knocked on the door. Come in. Liang Yongqi said weakly. The injuries on his body hadn't healed yet. His father was too vicious, and his bones were about to break. Lin Fan pushed the door and entered. Brother Liang, I am here to see you. Liang Yongqi laid on the bed and held a book. He used the knowledge in the book as strength to fight against the pain on his body. However, when he heard that voice, his hand shook. Then, he suddenly raised his voice. Why did you come? He was really furious. The person he didn't want to see the most was this fellow. Rage points plus 88. Maybe because of the injuries on his body, it affected his rage points, which dropped from over 100 to 2-digit. Brother Liang, don't be agitated. Let's talk things out. We don't have such a huge conflict between us. Look, I brought nourishment to see you. Lin Fan patted the things in his hands and said. Liang Yongqi wanted to hide the book in his hands under his blanket, but Lin Fan saw it. How elegant. This young married woman's precious has a lot of literary content. Brother Liang is indeed a cultured person. Rage points plus 111. It finally broke 100. Liang Yongqi kept the book and said coldly, Stop crying fake kindness. Stop acting in front of me. Surnamed Lin, let me tell you that this is the Liang family. If you dare to do anything to me, you won't be able to walk out of here. To be honest, before he was bullied by Lin Fan, Liang Yongqi was also a handsome young master. He held a fan and was suave. Normal girls probably couldn't resist his charm. But what a waste. Lin Fan messed with his mentality, and he revealed a fierce look on his face. That unique aura of a noble young master was totally gone. Lin Fan pulled a chair over and sat down. Don't be nervous, don't misunderstand. I really came to see you. What happened that day is still fresh in my mind. You were beaten up so badly, it hurts my heart. To Liang Yongqi, Lin Fan did it on purpose. He wanted to forget about it, but this fellow brought it up again. He was purposely infuriating him. Rage points plus 123. Liang Yongqi hollered, "Can you leave? I am begging you. Every time I see you, I can't calm down. Please leave, the Liang family doesn't welcome you." To him, the person who made him the most angry. That person was definitely Lin Fan. In the past, he didn't have such a feeling. But since he was conned so many times, he had such a feeling. Scum, he was a living scum. He knew better than anyone else that everything that had happened was definitely that bastard's doing, but no one believed him. Who could he find to reason with? "Brother Liang, don't be like this. I really came to see you. We will live in your city in the future, and we will meet all the time, so why do this?" Lin Fan smiled and said, "Not bad." He didn't have much rage points, but he had a few hundred more. Liang Yongqi hated Lin Fan, and he wouldn't believe a single word of **t. Only someone who was hurt before could understand that feeling. "Don't say all this to me, I won't believe a single word you say. Leave right now, I don't welcome you here." As he was too emotional, the wounds on his body opened up once more. It was so painful that he gritted his teeth and sucked in a deep cold breath. "Okay, since that is the case, then I will leave first. Once your injuries are healed, I will arrange a table for you to celebrate." Lin Fan got up and placed the tonic at the side. "Brother Liang, I won't send you off. Goodbye." He then left. The room was silent, and only Liang Yongqi's heavy and furious breathing could be heard. He looked at the gift box at the side. He wanted to toss it away, but curiosity made him take a look. He opened the box. There was no sound. Suddenly, an enraged roar erupted. Lin Fan, damn, rage points plus 666. Liang Yongqi was furious and smashed everything. Lin Fan came to his house to give all these to him. He was just toying with him. Actually, Lin Fan felt wronged. He was sincere. He just wanted to nourish his body, so why didn't he accept his good intentions? Chapter 62. On the way back, Go Zi didn't understand why young master wanted to see Liang Yongqi. Didn't the two of them have conflicts? He didn't understand. Maybe this was how aristocratic families interacted. "Brother Lin, please wait." At that moment, Liang Yichu walked over. Beside him was a person. It was Yu City Liang family's top detective, Zhu Xiang. He also came from a large city outside. Lin Fan smiled. "So, it is Brother Liang, what is the matter?" Liang Yongqi's big brother was really something. His attitude was terrifyingly good and he was a decent person. "Nothing much, I just saw Brother Lin come up to chat. Is there anything wrong? If not, why not head to Drunk Fragrance Pavilion for a drink?" Liang Yichu smiled and then added, "My treat." "Okay." Lin Fan replied. Anyway, he had nothing to do every day. Someone was treating him to a meal and he didn't need to spend money. Drunk Fragrance Pavilion. The manager arranged for the two young masters and was a little confused. It was really weird. Why did the Liang family young master have such a good relationship with young Master Lin? Didn't he hear that third young master and young Master Lin had a bad relationship? Not only did he not take revenge for his brother, but he even drank with his enemy. He really didn't understand, he really didn't. Lin Fan and Liang Yichu bragged and chatted happily. At the dining table, Zhu Xiang would stare at Lin Fan from time to time. He slowly moved up from his feet like he was searching for something. He was good at noticing any clues. Especially in the field of psychology, he had quite a high level of attainment. When the Liang family granary was robbed, he didn't suspect Lin Fan. But based on the situation, he realized that this matter was related to young Master Lin. Other people might not believe what third young master said, but he heard it in his heart and analyzed it. It was indeed possible. Or rather, third young master didn't lie and what he said was true. Brother, since we met, you have been observing me. Is there something wrong with me? It is okay, just say it. I am willing to accept bad opinions. Lin Fan asked. The gaze of the person beside Liang Yichu was too weird, and it terrified him. If not for him looking normal, he would have suspected whether or not he wanted to play with his butt. Zhu Xiang smiled. Young Master Lin, you misunderstood. I just felt that you looked extraordinary and took a few more looks. Hey! Lin Fan's interest was piqued. So you also know how to read faces. Not bad, not bad. When I was young, an old master told me that my face has a full forehead, a square earth, and a towering nose. My nose is round and doesn't show any nostrils. It's also called the dragon's nose. The people with dragon noses are all intelligent, talented, and extremely wealthy. That old master is really accurate. Look at my current situation, it's a perfect match. Zhu Xiang's smile froze. What was he saying? It was just a passing sentence, and he actually pulled out such things. Third young Master Liang's defeat was not unjust. Liang Yichu smiled. Brother Lin, what do you think of mine? Lin Fan pondered for a moment. Not bad. Although your nose isn't that of a dragon's, it's still the king of noses. It's commonly known as the hanging gallbladder nose. With this nose, you're destined to enjoy glory and wealth. When you're in the prime of your life, opportunities will come. Brother Liang, you have to grasp them well. Ha! Liang Yichu smiled. Although he knew that Brother Lin was bragging about one another could improve their relationship. Just like what he said. He applauded the things that Brother Lin did. Farming taxes, giving out grain, those weren't things that normal people could do. If one didn't have some courage, one wouldn't dare to do so. Zhu Xiang shook his head and didn't say a word. The young masters of the 3 aristocratic families of Yu City were much friendlier than those aristocratic families outside. He came from those big city aristocratic families to a secluded place like Yu City not because he wasn't talented enough, but because those places were too dangerous. The competition was too intense. If blood didn't form a river every day, one wouldn't be able to talk about the competition between the aristocratic families. When he slept at night, he would be having a good sleep, but suddenly there would be blades flashing and he would nearly lose his life. What Zhu Xiang couldn't take was relaxing under such high pressure. When he reached the peak with a beautiful girl, when billions of soldiers charged into the enemy's fortress, he wanted to reach the peak with the enemy. However, the enemy was really calm, raising his hand and striking him with a cold glow. He was scared out of his wits. From then on, he didn't have those ambitions anymore. He just wanted to leave this dangerous place and find a safe place to spend his time. At this moment, Zhu Xiang's expression was a little sunken. He woke up from his memories and noticed that young Master Lin was staring at him. His gaze was a little off. You are a man with a story. Lin Fan drank a mouthful of wine and said leisurely. The expression on the other party's face as he recalled the past was the same as his own. Only men with stories could understand each other. Zhu Xiang smiled awkwardly. Story? He was definitely a man with a story. If one hadn't experienced it, one wouldn't understand. Normal people really couldn't handle those days. Not only did the battles between aristocratic families see blood, but they also claimed lives. To him, the battle between the 3 aristocratic families was just a small matter, adding some fun to life. Take the granary matter for example. If it happened beside those aristocratic families, not only would the guards in charge of the granary die, but even their entire families would be buried. How would it be like this? They would just be crippled, and they would still be alive. Zhu Xiang smiled. Suddenly, a gray light flashed across the sky, and his expression changed. Young Master Lin, it is best if you don't head out. These words made everyone confused. Why? Lin Fan asked. He was confused. He didn't understand what Lin Fan was saying. At this moment, Zhu Xiang found it weird. As the Lin Manor young master, how would Lin Fan not know about such things? When he was prepared to say something, the streets outside became a little noisy. The sound of horse hooves spread out. Lin Fan looked out and saw that his cousin had returned. He laid on the railing and waved his hands. Cousin, Zhou Zhongmao returned from wiping out the pirates. At the same time, he wiped out all their riches, filling up 4 large boxes. There were many treasures and also things that he specially brought back for his cousin. After doing all this, he rushed through the night without stopping to rush back to Yu City. Cousin. Zhou Zhongmao saw his cousin upstairs and raised his hand to stop them. He landed on the ground and ordered his men to send the things back to the Lin Manor before entering Drunk Fragrance Pavilion. Cousin, you went out for so long and made me miss you. How was it? Did you face any danger? Lin Fan asked. Zhou Zhongmao smiled. No, I was fine. The main thing is that the journey was a little long, otherwise I would have returned long ago. Zhu Xiang smelled a thick blood scent. He knew. The person in front of him killed many people. The scent gathered and didn't dissipate. Normal people wouldn't be able to smell it. This was a vicious person. P.S. I wore pants to the toilet this morning and caught a cold. Mucus flowed out of my nose, and it was a little uncomfortable. Oh right, I nearly forgot. Ask for recommendations and tip. Brothers and sisters, please give me some. Chapter 63. With cousin back, Lin Fan felt much more confident. With a super helper here, he didn't need to be afraid if he faced trouble. However, that assassin was still a problem. Even cousin wasn't his match. In the end, he still had to rely on himself. Or rather, he relied on the small support system. Lin Fan and Liang Yichu didn't have any actual topics to talk about. They were just bragging and talking about things that didn't matter. He noticed that Liang Yichu's complexion was good, much different from the first time they met. His face was much redder. This meant that Liang Yichu's life in the Liang family was getting better and better, and he might inherit the position of the Liang family head. After eating and drinking, time passed really quickly. Brother Liang, let's stop here. If there is a chance, let's meet up again. Lin Fan got up and cupped his fist. What he meant was that this bragging session had ended. Liang Yichu smiled. Okay, Brother Lin, have a safe trip. In the restaurant. Mr. Zhu, young Master Lin is a good person, right? Liang Yichu asked. Zhu Xiang blinked. How was he supposed to reply to that? Not bad? Everything was fake on the surface, but the truth was so terrifying. Lin Manor. When Lin Wani learned that Zhongmao was back, his expression changed. How did he return so quickly? Although the bandits on the side of Wei River weren't much, they were really cunning. He knew that with Zhongmao's strength, it wasn't a problem to wipe them out. But this was just too quick. What happened? He came back half the expected time. Old Master, don't think about it. We underestimated Zhongmao. Old Wu saw that Old Master was troubled and consoled him. Zhongmao was too strong and exceeded everyone's expectations. Or maybe the bandits were too stupid and careless to fight Zhongmao head-on, causing them all to be wiped out. Lin Wani shook his head. He thought too simply, he underestimated Zhongmao. Zhongmao's cultivation had reached the peak of grade 8, and in a short while, he would be able to reach grade 9. Such a cultivation speed was that of a genius, a true genius. The reason why he had spent so much effort in teaching for the past 10 years was to nurture a true expert for the Lin family. In the future, that unfilial kid would have a better life. Dad, I am back. After Lin Fan returned, he saw his dad and old Wu chatting by the pond in the courtyard. Uncle, fortunately, we did not disappoint you. The Wei River bandits have all been annihilated. Zhou Zhongmao reported. The Wei River bandits were too weak. Only the leader had some ability, but the difference was too great. Very good, thank you for your hard work. Lin Wani nodded his head in satisfaction. Zhong Mao was not bad. It was just that the time he took to come back was 2F*king fast. It was different from what he had imagined. Why didn't he stay a little longer? Uncle, I've also brought back the bandits' wealth. There are 4 large boxes. I didn't expect a mere gang of bandits to have so much wealth. It seems like they robbed a lot of ship merchants, Zhou Zhongmao said. The Wei River was an important waterway, and many merchant ships passed by. Some merchant ships could not afford to hire experts to guard them, so they could only be robbed by the river bandit. As for the merchant ships that had experts overseeing them, the river bandits would retreat after probing them and realizing that they were no match for them. The Wei River near Yu City was controlled by both the Yuan and Liang families. However, as there were no benefits, they didn't bother and allowed the bandits to do as they pleased. Father, I will bring cousin back to rest, Lin Fan said. His small support system was a little problematic. He had to take the initiative to attack. If he didn't, he wouldn't get any rage points. During this period of time, he was really low profile. Cousin wasn't at home, so he didn't go out. Now that cousin was back, who did he have to be afraid of? Lin Wani opened his mouth. Don't go out during this period of time. Why? Lin Fan was stunned. Father, I didn't cause any trouble recently. I even went to the Liang family to visit 3rd Liang. We have already reconciled. Rage points plus 66. I told you not to go out, so don't go out. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Lin Wani hollered in rage. Okay, you are the father and I am the son. I will listen to you. Lin Fan didn't want to say more. He was starting to restrict his freedom. That was just too terrifying. Of course, he was just casually saying that. To want to restrict his freedom. That was impossible. If he didn't have freedom, he would rather die. Then, he brought his cousin towards the backyard. Brother Wu, follow him during this period of time. Lin Wani said solemnly. As a father, how would he not know what was going on with this unfilial kid? He was just saying it. He would probably head out tomorrow. Yes, old master. Old Wu replied. That night. The night was really dark. Today the Wang family village was really busy. Someone was getting married, and the villagers were all mobilized to hold a simple wedding banquet. The wedding banquet ended. Wang Dai wobbled as he walked back home. As he walked, he hummed a tune. Why is this woman sleeping so early today? He was a little curious, but he didn't care much about it. Everyone in the village went to the wedding banquet. The women all came back after eating. Only the men drank wine until they were satisfied. He stood in front of his house, and the cold wind blew. With a creak, he pushed open the wooden door. The room was pitch black, and the candles weren't lit at all. Wang Dai shook his head and muttered, You are just too much. I haven't even returned and you extinguished the candles. It was really dark. He walked to the side of the bed, and the woman was sleeping on her side. Woman, are you asleep? Wang Dai asked softly. There was no reaction. Wang Dai had some thoughts. He reached his hand into the blanket and touched the woman's waist. Instantly, he retracted his hand. It was so cold, like he had touched an ice cube. Woman, why is your body so cold? Did you catch a cold when you showered? Wang Dai got up and wanted to flip her over to see what was going on. If she was sick, then he had to treat her. When he saw her face, everything was in darkness. Morning. Ah! A terrified scream broke the silence of the Wang family village. Many villagers rushed over. Dave and his wife are dead. A middle-aged man sat on the ground in terror. He pointed into the room. Lin Manor. Lin Fan just woke up. A new day had begun. What was he going to do today? He didn't have any ideas. His relationship with Liang Yongqi was slowly calming down. Yesterday he even gave him tonics, so it wasn't good for him to hit on him today. Young master, something happened in the Wang family village. Someone died. Go Zi carried a washing basin and walked in. Lin Fan was curious. Someone died? He had been here for a period of time and hadn't seen anyone die. To him, this death was a huge matter. Someone died. I don't know why, but a total of 2 people died. It was a couple, and they were discovered this morning. I heard that they died in a tragic manner. Some people in the city said that it was done by a demon. Go Zi said the gossip that he heard. Lin Fan washed his face and became more and more curious. They died in a tragic manner? How tragic was that? As for it being related to a demon, that was a little unbelievable. But he couldn't guarantee that there wasn't such a thing. Let's go, call my cousin. We will head to the Wang family village. No matter what, the Wang family village belongs to our Lin family. Lin Fan said. Logically speaking, that was indeed the case. P.S. Those who have recommendation votes, please vote for them. Thank you. Chapter 64. Wang Village. The villagers did not dare to enter as it was too terrifying. It was as if there were demons inside, and they were afraid of being targeted by them. Village chief, what should we do? A villager asked. Wang Laosan was extremely anxious. How could there be a murder case in the peaceful Wang family village? As for what to do now, he had no idea. Some villagers whispered to each other. They thought that this was the revenge of the Yuan or Liang family. If it wasn't for these 2 families, who else would have enmity with the Wang family village? But just as he had this thought, the village chief glared at him. He could only think about it in his heart. If someone with ulterior motives heard it, he was afraid that it would cause trouble. Young Master Lin is here. Suddenly, a villager shouted. To the 3 villages, the Lin family young master's name was really famous. They were able to get through this because young Master Lin helped them and gave them hope. If not, they really didn't know what to do. Sir Lin. Sir Lin. The villagers consciously made way for him and greeted him respectfully. The aristocratic families were all very evil, but to them they didn't think much of it. There would always be someone special, and that special person was young Master Lin. Yes. Lin Fan nodded his head. He was very calm. He was famous and respected. This was expected. He enjoyed this feeling. Zhou Zhongmao stood beside his cousin and looked around warily. Even if these commoners didn't have strength, he wouldn't be careless. As long as his cousin was here, even if there was no one around, he had to be wary. Go Zi followed behind, with a smile on his face. Seeing that his young master was so liked by the villagers, he was also proud. Young Master Lin. The village chief walked over. Chief, who is the one who died? Lin Fan asked. For a peaceful village, the death of someone was a big deal, especially if the death was strange and mysterious. Young Master, the deceased are Wang Dai and his wife from our village. The person who found them was a villager from our village. In the morning, he came to ask Wang Dai to go to the fields together. He knocked on the door for a long time, but no one answered. Then, the door opened automatically, and the couple was found dead in their own bed. The village chief told him what he knew. He didn't expect that young Master Lin would actually come to the Wang family village to care about this matter. His heart was greatly touched. It was the feeling of being valued. Cousin, the smell isn't right, Zhou Zhongmao said. How so? Lin Fan asked. Cousin's ability was amazing. He didn't even smell anything, but he could actually sense it. Zhou Zhongmao thought for a moment. It's hard to say. Forget it, let's go take a look at the corpse first. Lin Fan said. The village chief was in a difficult position. Young Master Lin, your status is precious. It is filthy and messy inside. How can you enter? Lin Fan raised his hand and said calmly, What do you mean by that? You are all from the Lin family. If anything happens to you, the Lin family will naturally take responsibility. Dirty or not, it doesn't matter. These words caused a great commotion among the villagers. They were moved. No one from an aristocratic family had ever said something like that to them. He actually admitted that they were from the Lin family. Everyone cheered in their hearts. They had to work hard to farm and repay young Master Lin. When Lin Fan came to the front of the house, Zhou Zhongmao stopped him. Then, he went in himself to see if there was any danger. If there was, he would nip the danger in the bud. She definitely wouldn't let the danger affect her cousin. Cousin, come in, Zhou Zhongmao said. The smell inside was a little unpleasant. Even if they died last night, they wouldn't have rotted so quickly. When Lin Fan saw the two corpses on the bed, he was stunned. This was the first time he had seen such a terrifying scene. The two corpses opened their mouths and their eyeballs were gone. Their fingers were bent into claws like they had gone through a really terrifying scene before they died. They had become dry corpses like all the blood in their bodies had been sucked dry. Who did this? Lin Fan muttered. He then noticed something. The two corpses had a hole in their chests and their hearts were dug out. He looked closely. The surrounding dried meat was really flat like it was dug out by a sharp tool. It was a little cruel. Cousin, can you see anything from this wound? Lin Fan asked. Zhou Zhongmao touched the wound. Cousin, this wound doesn't look like it was caused by a sharp tool. It looks like it was dug out by a hand. Are you kidding me? He even grabbed it with a hand. Who the hell has a round hand? The light in the room slowly dimmed. The room was originally really bright, but the ground seemed to have been split into two. The darkness continued to expand and swallow the light. The two of them didn't notice. But suddenly, there seemed to be a flash of red in the darkness. Cousin, be careful. Zhou Zhongmao reacted really quickly. He slapped with a palm that contained terrifying internal strength. He then grabbed his cousin and fled out of the room. Bang! When the two of them went outside, there seemed to be a dull sound coming from inside the house. What's going on? Lin Fan was a little confused, unable to react in time. Zhou Zhongmao looked at the house warily. Cousin, be careful. There's something hidden in the house. It was his first time encountering such a situation. The demon race knew that they lived far away from humans and had their own forces. They would not clash with humans. Young master, are you okay? Gozi asked in panic. Lin Fan waved his hands. He didn't even know what it was and only his cousin brought him out. An uproar broke out.